All right, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 59 of Passion Project, the speedrunning gaming variety show that encourages anyone and everyone in the speedrunning greater gaming communities to showcase their passions in games. My name is Amber Cypher, and I will be your host tonight, and if you've got a passion project of your own and want to appear on GDQ Hotfix, we are always accepting submissions for our shows. If you've got a run that you'd love to showcase on the channel, send it our way at gdq.gg/submit/hotfix. Type !submit in chat for more details. So whether that's grinding speedruns, learning and routing new categories, or breathing new life into a game in unconventional ways, Passion Project is the best place on Twitch to show the world what you love most in speedrunning and gaming. Before we get started with the showcase that we have planned for tonight, I just want to remind everyone that Games Done Quick is hiring. If you have experience in administrative assistance, apply for a mainline event contract in sponsorship operations. Or if you are an expert in broadcast strategy and marketing development and are looking for full-time work, apply to be part of the management team as creative director at Games Done Quick. Apply or share with someone you know that may be interested by February 14th. Tonight on Passion Project, we're exploring the Polaris Galaxy and finding all of its shiny MacGuffins with B-Dud and his commentator Sin as they show off the all-collectibles category of Ratchet Clank Rift Apart. Thank you both for being here with me tonight. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. Yeah, we got Rift Apart today. It's yeah, I'm really excited to be showing off Rift Apart. It's the longest category. Well, not longest, because I guess 100% would be the longest, but it's like general, you know, getting all the collectibles without having to endure in like a 5-hour speed run. So yeah, this will be a little bit over 2 hours. It'll be good. We're going to get every collectible in the game. But yeah, I'm B-Dud. I speedrun a lot of modern games, a lot of like PlayStation modern games. And Rift Apart was my first speed game and still my favorite to date. And I'm joined here by Sin.
Hi everyone, I'm Sin. I'm also a PlayStation speedrunner, primarily a Ratchet speedrunner. I've speedrun pretty much every Ratchet game in the series outside of just a couple of them, Rift Apart being the one that I speedrun the most, and I'm also so excited for this category to be shown off.
Yeah, and I'm just going to do some settings real fast that we have to configure every time we get into this, but just to give a quick overview of this. So Rift Apart, I love it for its movement tech, for its range boosting most of all. It'll be about 30 minutes until we get into that movement tech, but it's like so cool seeing range boosting just take us to the skies and take us from checkpoint to checkpoint. But there's plenty of tech in this run too. Like we got a lot of infinite jumps. We're going to be showing off how to swing, shot, fling. There's photo mode abuse where you can stall animations in place and kind of like do some finicky things that we'll show off. It's going to be really cool. But yeah, and then, but also from an any percent perspective, like the most popular category is New Game Plus, and you don't get to see a lot of combat strategy in this. There's a lot of skill expression involved with combat in Rift Apart in the any percent cats, any percent, all gold bolts, all collectibles. So you'll be seeing us have to follow like a specific route to level up our weapons, upgrade them with raritanium, but also to kind of like, pull off precise shots with them at all times, even with all the upgrades that we're doing constantly. So yeah, it's constantly evolving. But with that said, I think we're ready to start. So
yeah, feel free to count us in.
Yep. All right. So once I skip this cutscene, once I press confirm, so I'll count us down in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck. Have fun.
All right. So we start off here. Ratchet and Clank are kind of like, they haven't been in the game for a while, and they're like a little worried that they're not going to be able to put on a heroic show for the parade. But then things get a little spicy, and the parade gets kind of like invaded. So we're going to have to show off our good old skills from the good old days and fight through the parade sections here. But yeah, a few things to note off at the start. Every time we jump, we save 1 frame. That's like the best thing that we can do at the start here. And yeah, I'm just going to make my way to this first button. We do have a kind of complicated strat already at the start once we get to this next parade island, though. It's going to kind of... We're only going to use it once, but it's going to give us the inklings that combines a lot of few things. But Sin, do you want to start describing what that is?
Oh yeah, of course. So this glitch will go by kind of in a blink of an eye. It's a very crazy glitch, but pretty much what we're going to be using is we are going to be taking advantage of the PlayStation 5's kind of control mode pop-up. And we are going to be overlapping that with the photo mode, as you see right here. So we're opening the photo mode, holding a button, and then opening the PlayStation 5 menu. And for some reason, it just drags this island that we're supposed to normally get to a different way just over to us. So you see here, B-Dot is hitting a couple of these level triggers to make sure the enemies are spawning in a specific place. So we're able to get to the next section. So this pretty much skips the entire rail segment that we're supposed to be doing in this section. So it skips a large majority of that. And you'll see right here again, you see this island is pretty much like getting completely dragged over to where Ratchet is at. It's actually really funny to see. And so yeah, the reason why B-Dub was going over in that direction is because there is a checkpoint there. Something to note just right out the gate with Rift Apart is Rift Apart has a lot of checkpoints that are scattered throughout the game that we have to make sure that we hit every single one of them in the sequence they happen. Some of them can happen out of sequence, but not really that much in this category. So those checkpoints, typically you'll see like the wrench icon like in the bottom right. So we try to make sure that we're hitting all those in the order that they need to be in. So there is a piece of like memorization that comes into this. So there's a lot of game knowledge that plays into this run.
Yes, absolutely. So here we're about to get into like our first combat, and we're going to be using the blast pistol a lot. So this is our first weapon, the only weapon that we can have right now. It's kind of a pea shooter, and it's kind of slow because it has to ramp up like in its rate of fire over time. So we want to keep it like going as long as possible. But the key thing here is it does take a while to kill enemies as opposed to just like using our wrench like this. But we want to shoot it there because we want to start leveling up. And I guess, do you want to explain the basics of like leveling up weapons in this?
Yeah, so pretty much with this weapon, we want to hit level 2 while we're kind of destroying the ship because we're going to do more damage over time to the ship. So you can see the health on the ship is getting lower way faster. There is a lot of weapon leveling kind of optimization that we do. There is a weapon that we're going to be getting a little bit later in the run, like slightly later in the run, that we're also going to be trying to optimize the leveling so we're able to get certain upgrades later on. But you can see right here, B-Dot is actually infinite jumping up to this checkpoint instead of riding the elevator. Surely this doesn't show up again, like definitely not. But yeah, that could be something we explain a little bit later because that will be quite a bit in the run.
Yeah, we'll use infinite jumps a lot. It's our bread and butter to a lot of recovery too if we mess up strats as well. But yeah, we'll see a lot of that in the future. But yeah, just a little update on how the story goes. Dr. Nefarious has returned to us, and he has stolen the Dimensionator that Clank has repaired. So this is going to start having dimensions just start rifting apart everywhere. And it's going to be chaos. We're going to end up going into a whole new parallel universe soon after this first level. But we're going to buy our first weapon, the Shatter Bomb. Well, I mean, we had the blast pistol, but we're going to buy our first one. And this first weapon is basically, we're going to use this like for the majority of the run, like for 2/3 of the run. It's going to be just Shatter Bomb, pretty much. So we're going to level this up as fast as possible. We want to get rare titanium and start leveling it up. One thing that I want to mention here is we're about to blow up a ship with a train. So you might not see it on screen, but I'm going to try my best to show it off here. But I'm going into the trigger zone right now to have that ship right there blow up, and it kills all the enemies. And because it blows up all the enemies, it gives us a checkpoint ahead of time. So yeah. I'm glad that I was able to show it actually get exploded because mostly in my runs people don't get to see that and they just gotta take my word for it that some cool stuff happens.
Yeah, we used to just infinite jump to that platform and we'd have to fight the ship and the enemies normally. But the fact that the train can just run straight into the ship, I feel like is just so funny that that's something that we use as the strat.
Yeah, and we'll see those ships a few times actually. Like they're drop ships, so they're just supposed to drop off the enemies. But all of them work in that same way, where if we do enough damage to the ship and blow it up, we'll kill all the enemies on board. So if we have a requirement to kill enemies, we mostly go for just destroying the ship instead of waiting for the enemies to actually come down. Our Shatter Bomb is very weak right now. Like, I'm always trying to aim for direct hits right there because I knew 2 enemies were close together and I knew 2 blast explosions do basically the equivalent of like 1 direct hit. I just did 2 explosives there, but normally I want to be doing direct hits on everything this early. Once we get 2-star gas, so that's going to be the point where we can start kind of just using rough aiming with blast explosions to clear out combat fast, and we don't have to spend too much time just like aiming. We got our first boss here, Nefarious. Do you want to explain this, Sin?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. So right here, we want to do a combination of like the blast pistol and the shatter bomb because we're trying to skip a laser phase that Nefarious normally does here. So he can do a couple different attacks, like a rocket attack, which you see he's about to do right now. And there's also one where he like shoots a laser. There's one specifically where it's like very long, and we can skip that by throwing 3 shatter bombs and then kind of also spamming the blast pistol at him, and it'll kind of push him back, and then we can go on to like the next phases.
Yeah. So
and we're also trying to get level 2 as well. So you can see right here we just got level 2 because, as you noticed before, VDOT was getting Raritanium earlier, and one of them kind of went out of his way to get Raritanium. That's going to be important later on because we want to upgrade the Shatter Bomb because that's going to be like our main weapon for the run.
So we have this really cool like 1-minute sequence of just like this is what they used with their like reveal trailer for Report, I think, or maybe it wasn't the reveal.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was pretty close. It was like maybe like first gameplay look or something.
Yeah.
But these transitions are so sick.
Yeah, it's really putting the PS5's SSD to work here. But yeah, we can't do anything here. We just have to just sit here for a minute until it goes through. It's nice to watch every run, honestly, despite me doing nothing. But yeah. So I wanted to quickly explain what all collectibles means while we are just waiting a little bit. So we haven't done anything that actually is different from any percent yet, but we'll do the first things with all collectibles a little bit soon in like 4 minutes when we get our first gold bolts. But basically all collectibles is getting all 25 gold bolts. We're going to get all 10 spy bots. We're going to go get all the armor pieces, which I forget how many of them there are. I want to say there's 27. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of like no time loss strats to get some of these gold bolts and spy bots and stuff, and it's going to be really cool when we get there. But for right now, we have Nefarious City. I'm going to do a little jump here, and then, Sin, do you want to talk about the iconic whipped cream strats?
Yeah. Yeah, which that hyper strike there, that was a very hard skip, by the way. I have to point that out. So this skip right here, so we call this whipped cream. I actually don't even know why it's called this, but pretty much like Ratchet gets pushed in between the elevator falling down and that pole, and Ratchet gets stuck in between the pole, and if you like spam jump, you just get launched all the way to the top, and you can skip the room where you would typically have to like turn a wrench and then watch like a super long cutscene. So we can just completely skip that.
Yeah, it doesn't, like, whipped cream as the name doesn't make any sense at all, but I love that it is the name. But yeah, I don't know why we just like rise in the beam, but we do. And we made it a strat. It saves like, I don't know, like 7-10 seconds, somewhere around there.
Rift Apart's also notorious for like just the very strange strat names, as opposed to other Ratchet names. But it's funny. It keeps the community together, right?
Yeah. Right there was our first instance of the swing shot flings. So we won't get to see too many swing shot flings, but in this level itself, we will see a good, we'll see like 3 examples of it being used probably. So yeah, it's we just kind of like flinged ourselves with a lot of speed and momentum. It was kind of crazy, but it's very situational of when we can actually get like a swing like around us to use it. I'm just trying to finish the combat here.
Yeah, you can probably also tell that there is a lot of kind of forced combat sections in this where you do have to kill like a certain amount of enemies before it allows you to go to the next section. That will be like a common theme like throughout the run. So you'll see a lot of like fight optimization from VDOT here, where he's like kind of trying to kill the enemies like right as they're spawning in to try and just maximize just these sequences in general. So then the next cutscenes or sections will start. You'll also notice that when B-Dud restarted a checkpoint there before the cutscene, that he's actually getting all of his ammo back. So something nice about Rift Apart is every time you restart checkpoint, even though it does send you back to whatever checkpoint the game has you at, it does actually refill all of your ammo. So that can be very helpful.
We also have the Phantom Dash ability now, so our movement tech has evolved a little bit. So basically this Phantom Dash, it's a little dash that sends you forward. It helps, it's good to dodge stuff in combat, but the way that we optimize it with we got another swing shot fling. That one's a pretty cool one. But with the Phantom Dashes, what I wanted to explain is the best way to control it is to do a dash on the floor and then jump real fast and then do a dash in midair, like the frame after you jump. That is the fastest way of doing it, and just combining those. Oh, that was really good movement. Oh, but Mrs. Zircon's scared of us. She gets scared of us sometimes if we fling too fast towards her.
Yeah.
Oh, don't want to.
And all that's happening in those flings as well is we're just kind of attaching to the node with circle, and we're jumping and we're just swapping between X and circle. So you have to kind of have a rhythm between it so you can kind of get momentum, because if you just kind of spam them, you'll just get height. So you kind of have to have a rhythm so you'll get more distance. And when you're on the edge of where the swing shot is at, you get even more distance. So that's a trick you'll kind of only really see in this level, and maybe one more if we do it.
Yeah, I'll try to do one more
cool.
in Sargasso, but that's pretty much like the most that we usually see of the swing shot flings, unfortunately.
Yeah, so this fight, we just skipped the cutscene right there, so B-Dud actually jumped into the trigger before the elevator reached the top, and that allows us to, if we reach our checkpoint, we're able to skip the spa cutscene. And so what B-Dud's doing right here is he killed the first two enemies there, and it's going to immediately spawn in the next wave. So that's something big with a lot of these fights, is we want to kill a lot of the initial enemies as fast as we can, because the waves are dependent on certain amounts of enemies dying. So what B-Dud can do here is you can see a lot of these enemies are also going to be grouping together. And so these fights go a lot faster when a lot of the enemies are together, especially when we have the upgrades. We were able to upgrade the Shatter Bomb when it was V2 with the Raritanium that we had previously. So we do have one of like the burst abilities on it. So if we throw a Shatter Bomb now, a lot of the enemies that are surrounding each other will also die with just the one Shatter Bomb throw. So there is a lot of optimization in these fights.
To get to the bazaar from here.
Yeah, and I also did you saw there, like the audio, you might have realized that it was a little distorted. We did a dialogue mute there. We'll have several instances of where we dialogue mute, but basically by dialogue like muting on one of the lines there, we made it so that Ratchet's final line after the cutscene, after the fight was over, we never have to listen, and it saves like 4 seconds. But yeah, we'll see several more instances of that later. Right now, this is where we start seeing the diversion of all collectibles. So we got to go get this gold bolt, but we're also going to see pocket dimensions. And do you want to explain pocket dimensions, Sin?
Oh yeah, this is like my favorite pieces of this game. So these pocket dimensions are in every single level. They're pretty much these small worlds that are inside of the levels. So this one specifically, you'll see B-Dud's trying to jump on the corner of that balloon because it'll give him like a little bit more distance, because there's a cycle here that'll prevent us from doing an infinite jump.
Yeah.
Let's see if we got it. Yeah, we definitely got it.
I actually ended up being I messed up one of my jumps, so I ended up being too slow. So I got the cycle like all the way going around again.
Yeah, and a theme you will see with a lot of these pocket dimensions is they are kind of wrapped around. So it does kind of show you the reward from where you start in each section. So you can see there the armor piece would have been visible from the very start. So we can use our attack and some of the abilities that we'll get later on to be able just to get the armor pieces immediately and just skip the puzzles.
So we're on the route for the spy bot right now. There's a gold bolt and a spy bot. This guy's gonna say Tuesdays, am I right? Which
the best NPC.
Yes, he's the best NPC. Best line. So relatable. But yeah, we're gonna get this gold bolt, but then we have like 2 minutes where we have to just like dash through and fight a bunch of enemies before we get our spy bot. So it's definitely like one of the spy bots that takes a little bit more time than the others. Like there's some levels and planets where spy bots will take like 4 or 5 minutes, that's like Sargasso. But then the spy bot, like say Cordelian, is going to take like 3 seconds to get. So it can definitely vary how much time and difficulty it'll take to go through spy bot sections. But yeah.
Yeah, in terms of the side questing as well, like I feel like this spy bot has a pretty long like little route that you have to take for it.
Here we're gonna try. We're gonna try to skip that train. That train can like you have the windows kind of small before that train can just like push you out of the way. Like it's not like when the train actually hits, because it has like this like invisible barrier in front of it that can push you really like really far in front of you. So the windows for that it's quite tighter than what it looks. But we're just gonna clean up combat with our shatter bomb. Nothing new really with how the shatter bomb is working. But our combat will evolve a little bit soon once we get to Sargasso. Do a little restart checkpoint there, and that sends us to the start of the Spybot section, a little bit faster than taking that pipe down over there. But yeah, that's Nefarious City, 100% done, all collectibles. We're gonna go on and finish up the main story here. So there's this Juggernaut boss. We'll see kind of similar bosses like this later, but yeah, this one's kind of important, especially now with our Shatter Bomb, to try to finish this in this phase, hopefully. Oh, I missed one of my Shatter Bombs, so we're gonna have to finish this here. But he gives us like 3 Raritanium when we beat him, so we want to make sure that after we beat him, we see the 3 Raritanium. Oh, he's not dead. We see the 3 Raritanium go in us, and then we skip the cutscene. Otherwise, if we skip the cutscene too soon, we don't get the Raritanium. It has to actively go into Ratchet for it to count. And yeah, that counts for any Raritanium that you see, like gameplay-wise, in this. Yeah, we got Glitch here. We love Glitch, but luckily, speedrunning-wise, luckily we can skip these puzzles, and it makes the run go a little bit faster. But yeah, poor Glitch.
Yeah, poor Glitch. We don't get to play the sections. Very unfortunate, but we all love Glitch though.
Yeah. Okay, so we're off to Sargasso, 3rd planet. This is Rivet's debut, where we play as her first. And I gotta say, I love Rivet. Rivet's design is really good, and
Design, yes.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just so good.
Design. Yeah, something nice about Rivet as well is, thankfully, when they designed this game, they actually have all of Ratchet and Rivet like share abilities.
Yeah, so the transition,
everything that we had as Ratchet, yep.
Like the transition ends up being seamless, which I think is so sick. I want to see Rivet get her own game personally, but I would also like another game with switching between the 2 Lombaxes, but maybe have them have their own, like, not necessarily move sets, but their own weapon loadouts. I think that could be really, really sick.
I think it would be interesting, yeah. I'd like to see that. We got Tiptoe Strap right here, which is something that we only get to see like once. So I'm going to go over here and get this armor piece, but you might be noticing that I'm like trying not to touch the ground. Like I'm basically trying to treat the ground like it's lava. The floor is lava. So the reason I do that is because I messed it up a little bit, but basically it sets up your grounded state. Like you have to be running in a circle or running on flat ground for like a minute, not a minute, a second, like a second or 2, and then it can like teleport you back once you go into the swamp to wherever your last grounded position. So we wanted to have that grounded position at the start of that rift. Instead, it saved it right by the Speedle nest. I guess I was on the ground a little bit too long for when I was getting on the Speedle, but yeah, it's a really cool like concept where it's kind of similar to the Sly Cooper games, where it's like you save your grounded state at one point and then you can use that to have it like fling you back at another point if you need to get back to like backtrack anywhere. But
yeah, or even safe tiles in some of the 2D Zeldas, like Minish Cap actually uses that to be able to skip like a guy who keeps you from leaving the town early.
Yeah.
This fight right here has some intricacies to it. So there is these like explosive barrels that you saw that it was hitting in like specific points to make sure the ships explode. So making sure that he's hitting those in the right order to make sure the ships actually explode, because each of them takes 2, and some of them don't explode at the right time, or you might actually hit 2 in 1. So that fight can be a little bit tricky. And you saw as well, Vita, since we have the Shatter Bomb at level 4, from also the optional path that we took to get the Spy Bot, we were able to get more of the upgrades. So these fights are also going to go by a lot faster. You're probably noticing that the Shatter Bomb is very good for this run, as in most Ratchet games where like the default weapons end up being very good.
Yeah, so the combat picks up a lot here. I'm going to try to destroy this ship to spawn the next ship a little bit faster, because I've noticed that I've kept a lot of my ammo. If I'm low on ammo, I update the strat, but...
All good while you focus on combat. Sin, I have a question for you, because you're also a Ratchet series runner. What got you into the series? Like, how did you end up, like, whether it's even just casually or speedrunning, like, what's your history with the series in this game?
So for me, it's like, I wouldn't say it's like a rabbit hole, but I've been a part of the series for a long time. I started speedrunning Ratchet in 2016 when the PS4 game came out. So I've been around for a while. And I first saw it through a stream of an older Ratchet runner who has actually done a couple like main stage events before. His name was Raikaru. I know Raikaru's done a lot of Rack 1 stuff, done a lot of stuff on GDQ, so I kind of got into it through watching him do PS4 runs. And then I started running that game, and then from there I discovered the community and everything. So it was from there it just took off, and then it's been fun ever since.
That's actually really sick. I remember the PS4 game, and I actually remember like finding it really fun. Like, I don't run the Ratchet series at all, but if I did run one, it probably would have been that Ouya. Because like I just remember really enjoying just quickly running through the New Game Plus mode of PS4 Ratchet.
Oh yeah, New Game Plus is always so sick, like speedrun wise in Ratchet, especially when it gives you like all of your items.
Yeah. So sorry to...
No, you're good.
We're like, wait, there's stuff happening in the game.
There's a speedrun happening now.
We're doing lots of things. So we're on the secret feed fight right now. And one thing I wanted to highlight just real fast was the fact that like we skipped like the big major sections that you ride this Speedles. To try to like climb the mountain, and we just go to its back immediately. We're gonna use photo mode of views here to kind of put our positions, like keep the animations from going forward, so we never go on the Speedle at all, and we can just throw a bomb at the endpoint that you would normally crash the Speedle into, because anything that can do damage can trigger that endpoint on that secret feed. So it's really cool to just like completely in that sequence like that fast.
Yeah, and with photo mode abuse as well, what we're actually doing is we're actually freezing like the in-game, I guess like the enemies, so all the actors that are in the game are frozen, but the events are still playing when we do photo mode abuse. So all like the in-game timers and the cutscenes and everything, those are still playing. But everything else, so like Rivet and the secret feed, they're just standing still. So that can cause some like weird things to happen, and we'll see some more with photo mode abuse later on, especially because there's going to be a couple like boss key spawns and stuff that you'll see that just some weird side effects of it.
Yeah, so we're going to have a lot of things happen really quick soon. I'll try my best to explain, but basically we're going to be trying to skip an unskippable cutscene by going back into the menu and making a copy of our save and making our load a little bit longer. And as a result, it's going to kind of give us the ability to jump in the ship and get the coordinates to leave sooner without having to watch this cutscene. So it's kind of weird and hard to describe, but I'm gonna just focus on this for a sec.
Pretty much we're loading oh, there you go, nice. Yeah, but pretty much we're like loading the load save, and we're starting a new game at like the same time. And for some reason, when the next cutscenes start, the game kind of like freaks out and it skips that cutscene.
And we got the CS warp. So we just lived like 15 seconds there, but yeah, there's a lot of things going on right there.
This section always has a lot of strats back to back, so it's like an info dump like immediately because it's like 3 or 4 strats back to back.
But that's okay because we got like the next 4 minutes to just go through a cool combat section where we can explain things. So yeah. Yeah, so to explain that, like when we got to this level, that CS warp, basically a cutscene warp, there's some cutscenes in this game. This wasn't a thing that was available at launch. It was something that was added after, just like accidentally added after patches. but if you it's mostly with the shortcut button of using the CS skip button on the D-pad. If you use that instead of skipping cutscenes in the title screen, sometimes you can just get a big boost of speed when you leave the cutscene. For some reason, I don't know why actually, but so you saw at the start of the level there, I was aiming at a very specific angle with my analog stick, and I was also like jumping constantly to try to stop myself so I don't go too far. But that allowed me to instantly go from the ship to in front of Xerxes, like immediately, and saved me 15 seconds at the start of the split.
Yeah, and we can't forget door skip as well. So once Beat actually went into that trigger when we entered, you saw he immediately restarted checkpoint, and he ended up in like the hub area where they're supposed to like take away your weapons. But what you can actually do is you can actually immediately dash and do a bunch of like short hops, and you can make it through that door that they're supposed to, like that door is supposed to close pretty much once you enter into that room. And there's a bunch of dialogue that like one of the Zircons is like explaining to you about like taking away your weapons, whatever. But you can just completely bypass that by like jumping through that door. And I feel like that's such like an underrated strat, because I feel like that saves like quite a bit of time, because you don't have to watch any of those cutscenes. You can go just straight into the next section.
Yeah, probably at least 10 seconds, honestly.
Yeah. And something as well here with the fighting. So you can see Beat is like pretty much killing the enemies the second they're coming out of each of the portals. But as of right now, you notice that we only have 2 weapons. So what we're doing is that we're keeping the blast pistol at full ammo, and we're only using the shatter bomb, which is now at the max level, which is V5. So what we can do here is we can actually guarantee that all of the ammo in this arena is actually going to be the shatter bomb ammo. So as long as the ammo is between 1 and, you know, the one before the max amount of ammo, it is always going to give us shatter bomb. So we just can't run out of shatter bomb. We have to have at least something, and all of these drops are going to be shatter bomb. So we want to keep at least 2 weapons, because this will pretty much apply to everything. So we want to keep at least 2 weapons until we get more weapons in the later levels.
Yeah. It helps a lot, especially on the next level where we used to have the topiary, but because we were getting so much RNG on our drops with the shower bomb, we decided to route against it, route out the topiary, which topiaries are like the second most important weapon probably. And it's like basically helps us increase damage to any enemy that is affected by a topiary. But yeah, that'll come up in Blizzard in 2 planets from now. But yeah, we finished this fight. We got our favorite boy, Francois, coming up that we're going to have to fight here. Yeah, it's a meme, and I have 2 speed games where we fight like a boss about 30 minutes in called Francois, and like he's actually like a super quick boss at both those games, but we like meme him to be the best, most impressive boss ever. So yeah, it's my boy, Francois. Here he is.
He looks so sweet. He's surely not evil. He has such a nice name.
But yeah, like with our upgraded Shatter Bomb. Yeah, it really does shred him. If I was 1 level lower with the Shatter Bomb, we would actually struggle a little bit with that fight, and I would have to go probably pick up some extra ammo, and it would take like 5 seconds longer. Yeah. Yeah. It's really weird how like a fully leveled up shower bomb, it really like powers up a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, this level also has a bunch of collectibles in it. There's like a couple gold bolts, some armor pieces, there's also a spy bot, but we're not gonna get that right now because this game has a couple Xerxes visits, and one of the later ones, when we have a piece of tech that we're going to be getting soon, will make it a lot faster. So for right now, we're going to skip getting those collectibles, and we're going to be heading to the next planet.
Yeah. So I'm going to start my explanation on the main piece of tech that's used in this game, which is the hover boots and wrench boosting. So basically, once we get the hover boots, like we're going to move faster just like casually you would move faster, but specifically with wrench boosting, basically the concept of it is if you're at full charge with your hover boots and you swing against a wall, you basically get a big momentum boost by pushing off the wall, and it works better when you're like using more flat walls. Like you get better speed boost on more flat walls, but that's essentially the idea. Is you want to swing against flat walls, and you'll just get this insanely big speed boost. I'm gonna try to kill this guy as he hits the raritanium because it like gets me the raritanium there. Oh, this little guy needs to die. Sorry. Let me finish off this combat. Nice. I'm also constantly looking in the bottom right to see the checkpoints to see if I finished the fight or not, or if there's a lingering enemy. But yeah. So we got hover boots, and on all collectibles, these hover boots being put to action, it's you get to see it being used really efficiently. So that's our first wrench boost, just going to the first gold bolt, not going the intended way at all to get that gold bolt. And then I'm gonna do these pressure pads here. So I'm swinging my wrench back and forth too, also, and this is backwards wrench boosting. I'll be doing this constantly, and every swing you see me go back and forth is one little momentum boost that I get, essentially. There's a certain rhythm that I have to hit to it, and it's not easy to pull off, but in order to get really good speed fast. But yeah, it's you're seeing everything now.
Oh my god.
Have you thought the speeds are crazy now? It gets even crazier soon.
Yeah.
You can get a lot of speed from these wrench boosts. You can actually see right here, the reason VDOT's doing this one specifically is because you're supposed to do a combat section here before this lorb kind of rises. But if you get here soon enough, the lorb will rise without having to do the fight. And that's done one other time later on in this level as well.
Here's also the thing is with wrench boosting, it's if you mess up, you gotta figure out how to recover really fast from it also.
Yeah. Wrench boosting does have like some intricacies to it with like where you can exactly do it. So any sort of slanted or flat wall surfaces is typically where you can do the wrench boost, right? So, you know, stuff like a crate or like a circle type surface like won't work. You can see VDOT doing it off like that wall right there. Any of those type of surfaces will work for like wrench boosting.
There's a little bug with this thing that I'm having trouble with right now, where if you go in the position where it's like standing thing is, you actually like die. That was a sizzle there. We love those.
Sizzles are the best.
Yeah, so this little thing right here is giving me some trouble, mostly because it's like standstill position just can kill you if you go in where it's like normally standing. But yeah, there's our second lorb, or third lorb, I guess, actually. That's what the UI says, at least. Okay, so we got our first temple fight here. This is combat gets definitely a lot more trickier in these 3 temple. Well, I guess the first 2. The last one's kind of trivial, but yeah. I'm trying to use my shower bomb like at a distance because I know that it's going to explode in the air, but I'm definitely going to need to like get ammo like very often. So I'm like going to my ammo spots that I know. But yeah.
Yeah, the ammo in this is just tricky because it spawns almost like every other platform here, so it can be really easy to like lose time on this fight, especially as well with the enemies spawning kind of further away. So you'll see some of these enemies, VDOT's kind of just like throwing the shatter bomb like just kind of in the distance, because one of the properties of like the upgrades we've been getting is that it'll explode like in midair as well. Like it'll kind of time out and just explode, and that'll hit like some of those enemies that are flying in.
Yeah. It's really helpful actually having the explosions explode in midair. So we're gonna do another wrench boost here to this lord. But yeah, I love this thing. This is what got me into speedrunning. I saw wrench boosting and saw the speed that you can do with this game, and this is why I speedrun today. I would not have gotten into any other game if I never saw if this tech never existed. So I owe Rift Apart a lot to just having wrench boosting involved with it. It's actually really cool because the devs, they were actually thinking about patching it out because it affected casual play too much, but they ended up keeping it. They just made it so that speedrunners would have to do a specific thing to actually get it to work, instead of just like all casuals just accidentally doing it whenever they're swinging everywhere.
Yeah, I've heard Insomniac are generally really cool with the speedrunning community, and it actively work to not patch things out.
Yeah, they are super cool. I'm gonna do, okay, nice, I got to this without triggering the combat. That's a really hard one to do. But yeah, Insomniac, they are the greats.
Yeah, I feel like Insomniac is like so embedded in just all of their community, especially the speedrun community. I know recently Insomniac reached out to the speedrun community and just asked in general, like, hey, like, what are some like speedrun accessibilities that you guys would just be interested in, or like stuff you would like to see like in our games? And like that sort of just communication where it's like whether it happens or whether it doesn't happen, just that level of communication is just really cool to see, especially when you have people that are just grinding their games like probably like 24/7. It's cool to get like their feedback. So it makes the communities feel so much a part of the process. So that's really awesome to see.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love when devs do that, when they like at least want to take the consideration of like asking, hey, what helps a speed run happen for this game? What makes it more accessible? What makes it like more fun? And I think that's really cool of them to do.
Absolutely. So this is our second simple fight. This is actually just like the start of it. It's not like the big bulk of it, but yeah, I got all of them. I see the console's green, so I can restart checkpoint and get here. But yeah, this next fight, it's we gotta really use all of the ammo crates efficiently to our manner, and I'm gonna try to like they come in like different waves once I kill enough enemies, so I kind of timed that well to go to the ammo crate specifically in this fight. To make sure that like once I kill these guys, I know that I have to wait on this ship to spawn, so I come over here. I can actually shoot and damage this ship early to kick the guys out early. It's funny, once you do enough damage on those ships specifically, it allows you to just kick them out early. But the last ship, like these ships we don't have to actually like kill, but the last ship that comes here right there in the middle, we do have to fully kill, and he's kind of tanky, so I'm just going to try to chuck as much of these at him as possible right now. We normally, following this, we normally have the most notorious trick in the game called Mountain Ascension, and it's this super long, super long wrench boost that just completely takes us to the other side of the map, and then we have to get like 4 triggers at a very like precise precision. This guy, I might have soft locked this actually. But yeah, if you're interested, I'm gonna have to restart this fight. If you're interested in Mountain Ascension and seeing that notorious trick, definitely check out any of the other categories. But because we have to go around and get all the collectibles, it's not worth us doing. I wonder, hold on, I gotta make sure I got this checkpoint here. Okay. Because I wonder why that fight soft locked exactly. This fight can be a little bit finicky sometimes.
Yeah, and like we said with the checkpoints as well, like there is a checkpoint at that, I guess, arch before you enter this section. So there is like a lot of points, especially when learning this speed game, where you might accidentally miss a checkpoint, and some of these fights can act wonky or like it kind of won't progress. So especially when getting into this game, I feel like there is like that game knowledge piece to it. And also some of these fights can also just act kind of weird. Like I know this one can kind of soft lock sometimes. And there's one later on as well that can also just not start if we sizzle, which we'll see like later on, like that instance. So we'll see if this works here. Yeah, there we go.
Good. Okay, so instead of doing Mountain Ascension, we're going to do this, which is still a very fast wrench boost to just immediately go to where this next orb is, which we usually have to climb up here, but because we're already at an elevator position, it makes it very easy to just take a nice stroll, a nice wrench boost over to it. Yeah.
Yeah, in this pocket dimension, you're seeing the same thing here that we saw in like the previous ones, where we're kind of trying to, as fast as possible, just get to where the end collectible is, which, since all these pocket dimensions pretty much like wrap around, it's pretty much right there towards the beginning, so we can just kind of hover boot right up to it.
Okay, good. And
good to mention as well that for the Lorbs, like this is the only level that Lorbs are actually in. So like this is just like something specific to just this level. So Lorbs are not in like any of the other levels in this game.
I throw 2 shower bomb right there to break a lot of boxes because I get a really nice collection of bolts. That's, you can't see where I aim, but trust me, there's a lot of good bolts over there. So I'm gonna do this. Nice.
Yeah, but
and get this gold bullet. I think this is the last one for this level. Well, actually, we'll get one later on this level because there's a forced revisit here later that changes the map a little bit. So we'll have to get one gold bullet there later. This is kind of cool because you're supposed to use Simon Says on these, I think. But instead of just like actually aiming, we just throw a bomb on the ground, and it just solves all of them. But yeah, that was number 10 out of 12. So we're definitely getting there. We'll finish up with this last temple.
Yeah, and after we get this lore here, Vita's going to go for a little bit of like a tricky wrench boost. Nice. And there's actually like a cutscene that's supposed to happen down below with Gary. And you can see right there, he just got it.
Yeah, I was a little bit too high, so I had to go back to get the checkpoint pretty much.
Yeah, so we want to like hit that cutscene down there and also like get this lore because the rest of this level actually like won't happen for this temple until we get that. This section, this like mountain ascension, it has a lot of like little checkpoints that we have to hit throughout the way. Since this is all collectibles, this is done differently than how you would see a New Game Plus, except this part. This part is done the same, so we'll see if we get this here.
Nice.
And nice.
Oh
yeah, so that's
goodness.
the second half. So we get all the checkpoints required to get to the top here. All that would be different as opposed to a New Game Plus run is we would get like pretty much a proxy at the very beginning. So we would get that Gary cutscene and we would hit the bridge and we would like get a proxy up to the kind of where we did that second half. So just like a slight difference there.
Yeah, it's really sick. That it was the second part of that mountain ascension trick that I was talking about earlier, that I pulled off there very perfectly. It was really, really cool. But yeah, that's what it's tricks like those that I really love about this game, and we'll see that especially. I call the next 3 levels, like this level included, Savali, Blizzard, Torin, the Terrible 3. But the Terrible 3 are actually my favorite 3 splits in the entire game, just because they require so much very precise movement and big skips, pretty much. And I wouldn't say any of the big skips in this game are really big because, like how Sin has described, like this game is really heavy on the triggers. But you know, we have some opportunities from time to time, especially with some like rail grinds and stuff, where we can still like save like a minute sometimes or 30 seconds, and it's quite nice time save. So I collected all the lures, but I have to turn them in. So I start Gary's dialogue there, and he's gonna give us a checkpoint back to him. As soon as we turn in all of these, or as we're turning in all of these. So I have a checkpoint all ready to go back to do archive skip, which basically we're supposed to do like a bunch of like cool portal transitions over to like launch ourselves up to the archives. But we're just not going to do that. We're just going to launch ourselves with wrench boosting. So sorry, Gary, I'm not going to take your portals. But yeah, that's all the lorbs turned in. We get armor pieces from that, and then I restart, and hopefully this puts me at Gary. Nice. So then I can do this wrench boost setup. And this might be a little slow on speed, actually, but nope, we got the proxy. Nice. There we go, archive skip.
Yeah, the intended way for this is like a speedway, pretty much. Like it's an epic speedway section, and then it leads to just coming up to here. So we can skip all of that by like wrench boosting into that collision, and we just get like a bounce all the way up to here. So right here is just pretty much just another fight where Vita like has all of like the enemy spawns like memorized, so he's just throwing the shatter bomb like where the enemies are going to be spawning. And since we have that radius damage effect, it'll just do splash damage to all of them if he throws it at like some like the pillars and everything. It'll hit the enemies.
This is an important strat where I go on the bounce pad back there and I stay on the edge of the arena until these two line up. They kind of kiss. But I try to... Our ammo supply is really hard to single-handedly take both of these guys out, so we have to use the explosive damage of the shatter bomb there in order to do this fight efficiently. Otherwise, we have to turn this fight into like us just wrench slamming for like an extra 15 seconds. So that strat's really cool. T-Dex found the consistent strat for how to get those two to line up very closely to each other. Otherwise, it used to be RNG, pretty much. All right, but that's the volley. Little mishap at Temple 2, but still like pretty good showcase of all the wrench boosting. So we're going into Blizzard now. So most levels aren't, like that where it's like open world. So volley is definitely the biggest. We're using a shortcut on the D-pad right now, the wrench swing combo, to allow us to move during a position right there where the game isn't supposed to allow us to move. So it allows us to hit the crystal early and start movement a few seconds before the cutscene like officially wants us to move. I'm going to get 2 new weapons here. We're finally getting new stuff. So the Enforcer, this is something I get in only all collectibles. And that's just for... it's not really worth mentioning it too much right now, but it's for an arena challenge at the very end of the game. Nice, that was a good wrench boost. But then the topiary is very important. Sin, do you want to explain the basics of how the topiary works?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, so the topiary was a weapon, of course, that we mentioned a little bit earlier. What it is that every Ratchet game kind of has like its turret weapons, and in this game, that's the topiary sprinkler. The basics of it is if we throw it down, it'll kind of turn enemies into plants and, greenery, which is very cute. But what it does is that it allows us to do pretty much like double damage to whatever enemy is actually like turning into the greenery. So we're actually going to be throwing them down pretty frequently to kind of freeze the enemies in place. And then we can just do massive amounts of damage to those enemies. And you'll see that first example like right here, where we just throw it for this enemy and then we're doing a lot more damage.
Yeah, so normally these enemies would take maybe like 3 or 4 shatter bombs, direct hits of the shatter bomb, but with the topiary it only takes 2. Very, very helpful. And the more that we use the topiary, the more we level it up, which is very important because the more we level it up, the more damage that topiary enemies will take over time. So we want to start leveling that up. We want to try to aim for level 3 on the topiary before we do the Doctrine of Farius fight. That's kind of like the halfway point of the game, I'd say. Here is a very tricky thing. So I'm just going to... come on.
Yeah, we can move during this cutscene pretty much. So we actually use the wrench combo to hit that crystal.
Oh,
so you can actually assign...
I actually did the wrench boost off. I didn't... Oh my god. I can't believe I pulled that off. I did that wrench boost completely blind.
Oh, nice.
That was sick.
Yeah, props to that. But yeah, you can assign various actions like the D-pad, and the wrench combo is one of those. So B-Dud was using the wrench combo when hitting that crystal, and that allows us to like gain control. So that's why we're able to like move during that cutscene.
Oh, okay. So we have 3 bots that we, like for the chief engineer, she wants us to retrieve 3 bots. So we're gonna try to do that. We have this really finicky, this is one of the newer wrench boosting things that was found last year to wrench boost off of that like flower, and it gives us little bit of vertical height part of it. It's kind of finicky, but yeah, we're already past that now. We got 2 bots already. We're just vrooming, we're smoothing.
Yeah, and right here we're going to be trying to get a specific dialogue from like the chief engineer that we can use. So B-Dub like went out slightly there to see if we can get it, and then B-Dub will be muting that dialogue line when it happens.
I actually should probably have this on because I can't tell if I got the dialogue line or not. Yeah, when
subtitles would be helpful.
Yeah, when we copied our file back at the Sargasso 2 in cutscene, basically it resets our settings. Well, some of our settings. So like the subtitles, we actually have a few strats coming up too, so it's worthwhile for me to turn this on. But yeah, we didn't get the dialogue skip because I didn't dialogue mute at the same time, but that's okay. This guy's gonna spawn, and I'm just gonna say no. So we're gonna go in photo mode for like 4 seconds after he does his little jump, and he's gone.
This was one of those effects that we mentioned earlier about the photo mode abuse, how the enemies can kind of just freak out a little bit. Don't worry about him. You know, he's somewhere. Hopefully somewhere good.
Yeah, he's on vacation. Okay, he went to the beach. Okay.
Yeah, we're waiting for some dialogue here. The chief engineer will talk about Jim, you know, our best friend, of course. And once Jim is mentioned, we can like wrench boost all the way up to where the next section is going to be starting.
All right. So for all collectibles, we actually have a section that's solely for getting a spy bot coming up, and it's called Cookin' Mama. That's what we call it, at least. Yes.
I love the name.
Yeah.
It'll be obvious why. It'll be obvious why soon it's called Cookin' Mama, but yeah, let's say that there'll be a lot of cooking going on.
Yeah. Cooking food, cooking up strats, cooking up movement, lots of cooking. So I'm gonna try to skip a cutscene right there, but I got like a checkpoint. It was very kind of tight actually, but trust me, I did. Just take my word for it that we did get a checkpoint. That was kind of important there in that big wrench boost. But we're going over this pocket dimension on our way to the cookin'. The concept of this pocket dimension is the invisible bare floors, but we already know where all the floors are, so... and there's boxes that show us where the floors are. I'm gonna try to get this... Okay, I didn't get as much speed on that wrench boost as I wanted, but that's still good. Yeah, that's still good. That can be a pretty hard wrench boost to pull off, so I'm glad that I did that adequately well. Okay, there she is, Chef Tulio.
Yep, so here's Cookin' Mama. So pretty much we need to defend these, I guess, this vat that Chef Tulio is using to make some of her most delicious food. And so there's going to be like waves of enemies. This is pretty much like a defense section. And so we're supposed to use these two platforms that Chef Tulio is talking about to like burn the enemies. But of course, like we probably don't really want to do that because we also want to like level up some of our weapons for the later sections. This won't fully be just a killing the enemies because, of course, this is all collectibles. So I'm sure there's some collectibles that we possibly still have not gotten yet. So we're going to be kind of taking advantage of this kind of being an auto-scroller section to go out of our way to get some things. And that will be more prevalent like later in the run, but this will be kind of your first instance of that. You can see right here, Beat is actually going out of bounds here.
Yeah, let me actually show you an example here. If I jump too far up, it spawns me back in, and there's barriers like that everywhere. So we don't, I restarted checkpoint here to refill the ammo, but I get a little feel on how this is going to work after we finish this wave. So I'm going to go, it's going to be our first like 0 time loss strat, or it should be roughly, yeah, it would be 0 time loss, this one. But yeah, it's going to be kind of hard to pull off. I'm going to have to be pretty tight with where I go. But hopefully we can get a gold bolt for free. And there's actually,
always like
yes, there's even more to it too, which you can feel free to explain, Sim, if you want.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, so there's like a slight piece of, I guess, space there that we can avoid that sort of, I guess, death, I guess, spawn back plane. And you can see here, so the waves of enemies are actually still going to be spawning. So the Cooking Mama section is still playing right now. And so what's happening is that the flying enemies are still spawning and Vita still needs to kill them to progress the section. But you'll notice that, you know, what about the land enemies, like the enemies that are on the ground? So they are actually still spawning. You can't see them, but they're spawning and just immediately falling into the void and dying. So we don't have to worry about them.
Okay, and I saw that the wave finished by the audio, so yeah, like all the ground enemies just are completely dead, so it makes the wave a little bit faster doing it this way too. But then I can just get the gold bolt, go back to the other dimension, and then we're here and we're good. So yeah, awesome. Now we just have to do this final wave. And I'm also trying to start leveling up the Enforcer because I have to use it in an arena challenge later, but I don't want to use it because it's slow. So I'm only going to use it in times where I think that I can get some like XP for free without it wasting a lot of time. So that's a good opportunity for me to use it, but also because ammo is pretty tight in this in general. So using the Executioner just to as some like extra ammo is kind of nice in this. Hopefully I get Shatter Bomb. We're looking for the pink drops here, which we did get 2 of them, so that's good.
Yeah, it can be super easy to run out of ammo here. I know, like, we used to not buy the Enforcer here, and we would always run out of ammo and have to kill the last enemies, like, either with, like, the wrench or just wasting a lot of time trying to get ammo back. So the Enforcer was a very welcomed addition, especially when we're kind of going to be forced to use it later on in the run.
Nice. Yeah, that's cooking, mama.
I'm just happy those miners are finally gonna
GG.
Now, how do I get back to them?
All right, there. We still didn't get that cutscene. That's literally right to the right of me, so I gotta still avoid that. But now we're doing the most infamous trick in this level, which we dub all for one. Nice, got that.
Yeah, the reason it's called this is because you actually hit, like, you hit one trigger that you have to hit, and you hit the second one, like, together in, like, the same wrench boost. So it's sort of like it's, like, all together. And there's also a Ratchet game that's called All for One, so we like to just call this All for One. There's another version of this that's a little bit more complicated that's done a New Game Plus that we just call All 8-1, which is like a more complex version of this that saves just a bit more time. But in this category, we don't do that at all, because in New Game Plus, you have like the Rhino and like other weapons that make it possible to do. So in this category, it's not really feasible to do that method.
Yeah. But yeah, that wrench boost that I pulled off over here, it's the biggest time save in the game. And I also pulled it off really well because I got a checkpoint as I was going across the kind of like the start of the rail section. But yeah, like it just completely skips the entire rail section. It's so cool. Because that's the only rail section in the game that doesn't have any checkpoints to it whatsoever, except for the very start and then the end. This fight can be kind of finicky. I need to make sure that I destroy the ships.
Yeah, so like there's a crystal that we're trying to get to spawn like in the center here. And we need to make sure we're killing all the enemies. So there you go, it spawned right there. So B-Dot was actually trying to make sure at least one of those enemies was alive just in case a ship flew away, so then it would allow that crystal to spawn, because if a ship flies away and all the enemies are dead, that crystal like takes way longer to spawn in.
That dropship. Big and heavy.
Okay, so this ship, do you want to explain how this ship works? Then it's a boss fight.
Yeah, so this boss fight ship actually works, I guess, differently in like other categories, mainly like New Game Plus. So in this, pretty much for this category, we're just spamming the Shatter Bomb and then throwing the Topiary, and it's killing all the enemies inside of it. In New Game Plus, you can like destroy that ship instantly, but in this category, we can still like dispatch it pretty fast by just like spamming Topiary on it and the Shatter Bombs.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning that it takes decreased damage until a certain line. Like Rivet and Clank have to talk about the fight for a little bit, but because the Insomniac didn't want you to defeat the fight too early, pretty much. So I purposely wait to hit it with stuff until with Shatter Bombs and Topiaries until after. Also, this trick's really hard. There's death barriers everywhere around. Like if you see a rail grind or a rail in general, just imagine that there's like 1,000 death barriers everywhere, just surrounding them. I hope that I got the checkpoints there, but yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, there's like a couple checkpoints B-Dot's trying to hit here. So mainly the one on top of the rail, and then there's one on this swing shot. So yeah, there we go. And that'll just start the next fight, because we're about to get a new gadget after this fight.
Yay! We like gadgets.
Dodging kill planes like that reminds me so heavily of like Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 have a couple of levels that do that as well. I think that's so sick that another game like from a completely different series has that.
Yep.
Yeah, like from a dev perspective, like they put in the dev planes because if you fall off the rail grind, they want you to be able to get back into the action quickly, which makes very good sense. But speedrunning wise, it's just really, it's
mildly
extremely
terrifying and kind of inconvenient.
Yeah.
No, I've been loving this.
Also, that gold bolt we just got, we are not supposed to be down there, by the way. Like, Vito just jumped down there to grab that gold bolt. We are not supposed to be there. That's like a whole different section.
Yeah, no, we already skipped that rail grind, but we have to go back for the gold bolt, so. But yeah, it's nice that we can just like drop down while we're in the midst of like fighting here. There's just like a little hole that we can drop down into. Otherwise, again, death planes everywhere. This level is notorious for its death planes when people are starting to learn it. It's actually like so tough.
Yeah, this section also has a couple of those moments where there's kind of, we're waiting for something to happen and we can grab a collectible while we're kind of waiting. So Vito is going to try and get the gold bolt while the boss is like loading in here. You can see he got it right here. So we're waiting for pretty much a boss to load in. And so we can lose no time loss by grabbing the collectible and, you know, doing this PMA to despawn the boss. This is similar how we did the other one where the boss would kind of go on vacation a little bit. So after the boss goes on vacation, Vito is going to try to get another collectible here.
I didn't get the speed.
Also lose no time, but it doesn't look like we got the speed for it. But that's fine though, because there's a backup strat here. We can just quickly grab it. Thankfully, it's right near where we spawn.
Yeah, it would have been nice to get this collectible with 0 time loss, but it's not like, it literally takes like 8 seconds to get, so it's not bad. My favorite Pocket Dimension strat is coming up right now. So this Pocket Dimension, basically we wrench boost from one dimension into the other. Oh, I almost had enough height.
Almost.
But yeah, like we literally set up a wrench boost from one dimension and carry that momentum of it into the other dimension. I love it so much.
I love this. For the record, I have not seen a full Rift Apart speedrun. I am so glad I'm going into this with basically no knowledge. This has been a thrill.
We're doing photo mode views again to make sure this boss never reaches his destination. Yeah, we like to, yeah, we don't let the bosses like ever play. From this point forward, pretty much ever since the Blizzard one.
You'll also notice with the photo mode abuse as well that when Vita was in the photo mode abuse, you probably noticed that the actual map, like the Torin map, that we were seeing it from like the skybox view pretty much. Like it was almost like the camera was pointing down on the map. That's like one of, I guess, like the side effects like of the photo mode abuse, because we're opening photo mode and the map, right? So the game thinks you have the map open. And so we get that weird side effect of it's not the map with all the outlines on it. We're actually getting like the full meshed map like from the skybox view, which is cool to see. And that happens on like all of the levels whenever we do it. It's just that you don't see it like that much.
Oh, nice. Okay, that's a really hard strat that I'm not even going to try to explain how that works. But we are in the fixer section now, and checkpoints are heavy here. It's a big rail section. But I'm not going to go on the rails because the rails are slow and I don't like them. So I'm going to try to jump off this one. Wasn't meant to get on this one.
Thankfully, Insomniac made it so if you like restart checkpoint, just like spam jump and hold a direction, you can just jump off of the rail for some reason. I think it's partially because the game spawns Rivet or Ratchet like slightly in the air and then it connects them to it, so you can like jump out of it if you need to. So thankfully in this section, if you mess up any of the strats, you can just restart checkpoint and just jump off of it.
Yeah, and you need to know that because it's a pretty difficult section. Yeah, like you might not realize how many triggers that I got during that. There was probably at least like, I want to say 6, yeah, probably like 6 triggers that I had to get throughout that entire cave system that we were kind of in. Yeah, it's a lot. And I always use the icon in the bottom right to confirm if I got a checkpoint or not. But yeah, that's Torin. That's the hardest planet in the game, pretty much.
Now we're hopefully going to chill on the next planet by riding down an elevator, right? Hopefully.
Yeah. Actually, and we get to show off the. Oh wait, do we have?
Nice.
Yeah, we do have a break. It is about a little after the top of the hour of the run. So when you have a good time to.
This is a good time right now.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
We can go ahead if you want to count us into pause.
Right now is good.
Perfect. All right. So we're going to pause the timer for a moment because it is time for our wellness break. So we're going to just go ahead and take care of that. And I recommend you all take care of yourselves too. So get up, stretch, get your snack, get your drink, because this run is nonstop. And we'll be right back right after this. Everyone, welcome back to Passion Project. I am joined by B-Dub and oh my God, Sin, I'm so sorry. I had a moment of lapsing there. But I don't want to keep y'all any longer from this run. This is going to be some more Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Go ahead and take it away, you two.
All right, so I think we're ready to get into this immediately, so I'm going to count us down. So 3, 2, 1, let's go. All right, so we're at the start of Cordelian, and we're going to see a really cool strat right off the bat here. So this first thing is just to get 1 gold bolt. It's pretty cool, using the wrench boost to get us over to it, but what's even cooler is how we're going to get the next 2 gold bolts. So they're usually supposed to be scattered, the 3 gold bolts of this level, like throughout the level, but we're going to do a thing where we get in this elevator and then we just go up here, and now the elevator's going down, but we're up here and we're going to try to position ourselves where Ratchet's going to kind of like this.
Force sizzle.
Yeah, we're going to force a sizzle. Oh, I'm going to redo this because I didn't sizzle out enough. But
yeah, there's like a wall. The reason we have to do this because once you walk in here, there's like an invisible wall that prevents us from leaving. But since the game doesn't have Ratchet's grounded position ever being in an elevator, it means that our last grounded position is outside of the elevator. So if we sizzle, it'll put us outside of it, and we can just skip this whole elevator part.
Yeah, there's a very tight death barrier there too that I just avoided, which is really nice. But we just fall all the way down here because the cutscene is tied to the elevator. So we have about 30 seconds to just do whatever we want with 0 time loss before the elevator reaches its final destination and we get the checkpoint. So we're gonna get that gold bolt, but then we're gonna get a second gold bolt because we're greedy. We're speedrunners. Of course we're greedy. So I'm going to try to get a boost off of that. I actually can do a better boost.
Yeah, this one can be a little bit tricky as well because we have to get a little bounce here to get it.
Yeah.
Or like a little bit under it. This one is in a room that's really close to where the elevator would have landed. So if the elevator does hit the bottom, a lot of the times runners will opt to just restart checkpoint and then get it later. But you can see we got that here, so once we do restart, we'll be at the bottom of the elevator.
Yay!
If the Barlow station exists in this dimension,
This room is always like really impressive to watch. I feel like when you wrench boost through it, because of all these like little corridors. I actually love that room. I feel like that's one of like the more impressive rooms to navigate through.
Yeah, I like it. I remember having to practice that room a lot, but now it's like second nature now. I don't ever have to think about it. Even when I haven't played this game for a while and I come back and de-rusted, like I can get through those hallways pretty slick every time. We have Junkbot with us now, so we kind of require him to open doors and take us through elevators and stuff. So the run starts to slow down for a few minutes here just because of that kind of aspect with him. We actually restart checkpoint here, so we bring him faster up.
Yeah, who doesn't love Junkbot, to be honest? Like, he's just the star of the show.
Yeah, we're even dialogue muting him right now because he has too much time in the spotlight.
Yeah, he's saying too much, and he's not allowed in the elevator either. So I'm sorry, Junkbot.
So we have to wait for this elevator to come down. I'm just gonna come up here, see if I can get some ammo. I also got 1 rare titanium by doing a wrench slam through the wall. Yeah, the wrench slam just doesn't ignore his walls, so. We're doing pretty good on rare titanium too for upgrading everything. We want our topiary to be at level 3 by the end of this. We do not want to hit this crystal too early. There we go. We want to wait for the camera to pan. And then this cool thing. No. If you skip that cutscene manually instead of using D-pad, you can get a T-pose. Thank you, Sin. Sin, you are the best person ever. Thank you.
I saved the run, guys.
I am notorious for always forgetting the spy bots. I've had runs be invalid before because I've forgotten the spy bot by the end, but yeah.
Yeah, when we were planning all of this out, he specifically told me to make sure to mention that because it's actually very easy to forget that spy bot. I think there's one later on as well that's a little bit forgettable. But yeah, that spy bot's just kind of just chilling on that ledge. And if you forget that spy bot and you finish the level normally, it's a little bit annoying to get back to it because there's just teleporters everywhere and you have to kind of navigate it.
Oh, I am out of ammo. This is not great.
Yeah, so this is one of the bolt cranks that like isn't locked for some reason, so you can technically turn it while the enemies are still here. But of course, like, yeah, the enemies almost hit you there.
Yeah, basically,
So yeah,
like I have to restart the crank animation if they knock me off. So yeah, that was scary. All right, so we start the dialogue with Junkbot, but then we come back for the pocket dimension because it cuts off his dialogue. We see this a few instances actually of pocket dimensions cutting off dialogue, but yeah, like it saves us a few seconds. But like in all collectibles, we have to go in this pocket dimension anyways for that armor piece. So, and then the glitch puzzle is immediately ready for us to get started when we get back to it. So cool.
Yeah, and this was also one of like the only pocket dimensions where we didn't restart checkpoint. We exited normally, and that was because if we did restart checkpoint, we would have to listen to all the dialogue that we just, you know, we were trying to skip it, but if we restart checkpoint, we have to listen to all of it again. So that's why we exit that one normally, and that's also why we go into that room first, and then we go back to the pocket dimension, because Junkbot is talking during, you know, all of that time when we're like getting the armor piece.
Right. I know that there's some raritanium up here. Yeah, we're at 38 raritanium, so we're doing pretty good on raritanium. But like one of the biggest weapons is the Wormmonger. We're gonna get that in Ardolus, which is in 2 planets from now. So we gotta make sure that we got raritanium ready to upgrade that when we do get that.
This must be where they generate the
How difficult is the
power.
raritanium
But
management
there's
in this
nothing
run?
here. Is Junkbot
In all collectibles, it's a lot more lenient. In any percent, it can be a little tight. It can be very tight in 8%, but because we're constantly going to a lot of extra places in all collectibles, it tends to be very lenient in this category. But you know, it's still not. Still got to make sure we get some of the big bundles and stuff. Otherwise,
Gotcha.
we could be. Yeah, we could be in trouble. We definitely want to make sure everything's fully upgraded going into the arena stacking and the final boss at the end. So
try smashing
otherwise, we could be losing maybe like 10, 15 seconds overall in the fight if we don't have everything fully leveled up, maybe. Which isn't like huge, but you know, every
Oh
second
no, like
matters.
at high level it matters, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm glad that it is recoverable should like that sort of thing go wrong. So like when you're learning the run or picking the game up for the first time, it's more forgiving than someone might think. Your run's not going to be completely over.
Yeah.
This lock's controlled by a bolt crank.
Here we're just
They didn't get around to
going into 2 side rooms to make sure that we can progress forward. But Sin, do you want to start talking about the underwater thing coming up here?
Oh yeah, there's a cool underwater thing. So there's like a magnet section that we're supposed to do here where we have like the magnet boots on and we're supposed to be like attached to the floor. But what we can do here is we can actually PMA when the water is rising. And then if we restart checkpoint once the checkpoint icon appears, we can actually skip having to do that like in general. And we can just, as you can see, you can wrench boost through the entire section all the way to the end, which is a really big skip.
Yeah. And we got another big skip
Yeah.
coming up right here, which is very, very hard. Do you want to take it away also, Sin?
Oh, of course. I would love to explain this. So there's a door here that closes after some enemies spawn, and Beat-Out is going to be setting up the enemies in a certain way to where the door stays open. So you can see he's slowing down the game speed here.
I didn't quite get it.
Just missed it. But yeah, it's the door in that corner where the enemies will spawn through. If you kill them right as like the door is opening, the door will actually stay open, and we can just go straight in there and grab the checkpoint for the next section, because there is a pretty big fight that has to happen here where we save juice. But thankfully, even though Vita didn't get that skip, there is actually a backup skip that we'll get to see instead, which, by the way, I think the backup skip is way cooler anyway. So we get to see that shown off, so that is very exciting. But we can jump on this, whatever that thing is, and we can just get out of bounds.
Yeah.
We can just keep jumping here and get out of bounds, and then we can hit the checkpoint from like the other side. The out of bounds movement I think is always sick in this level because it's like a whole like underwater like base kind of thing. So the out of bounds movement always looks really cool.
That was actually pretty clean. Yeah. Nice. So yeah, that's a nice out of bounds backup. It's really cool. But yeah, like we normally like the consistency, especially on any percent cats, to try to get that door skip to try to keep it open is so hard. Like I want to say it's maybe like 40%, 33% chance that I get it in most runs. So and it's pretty hefty. It's like 30 seconds, 35 seconds to time save. So that strat can make or break a lot of runs if I'm on world record pace. Yeah. But that's all the collectibles in Cordelian. What I would say is the end of Act 1. You know, Ratchet and Kit have done their thing. Rivet and Clank have done their thing. We're gonna kind of swap our Clanks and Kits here, but not before Dr. Nefarious steps in and tries to take all of our hard work and takes it for himself pretty much. But before we get that like little bot reveal, let's go over here and get this little spy bot. Yeah.
Also, by the way, how this has gotten casually is you're supposed to use the hurl shot that we got from Torin. So that's literally just a random platform that's just laying out there that we're supposed to get that.
We're also going to upgrade the topiaries so topiary enemies take more damage. That's why we wanted level 3 by this point. And Nefarious is just going to like get decimated because of this. Yeah, look at that. He's already at 80%. Goes by so fast.
Yeah, that is always a cool property of the topiary, is that it does like freeze the enemy in place. So for all of these phases, we can just have Nefarious just sitting in that one spot doing nothing, and we can just throw just the shatter bombs at him to just get his health to the right level to where we can get to the next sections.
All right, so the same thing here.
This is also like funny to mention how like this is like pretty much the midpoint of the game, and this is also where like Ratchet and Rivet meet like for the first time. So like the entire game up until this point, they never speak to each other or see each other ever. So this is like where they first meet, is this point.
I can actually soft block this fight if I do too much damage to Nefarious early, but we're good. Yeah, okay, we're good. You can actually topiary Dr. Nefarious right like before you get teleported there, and it can kind of linger into this, and it can be a few seconds of time save that does happen, but we'll just do the ordinary topiary plus shower bomb spam once more, and he's dead. I want to shout out, this is awesome bug tracks done quick. It's a GDQ reference that they made as one of the arena matches.
Yep.
I love that.
I also don't know why I never realized that until we met like a couple days ago when you pointed that out, where I was like, wait a minute, this game has a GDQ reference in the game. Like, that is so cool.
It is so cool.
I'm pretty sure the devs have also like donated during various rack runs, because like they really just love the speedrunning community and what we all do to the games, and just like being able to showcase it at this level is incredible. The movement in this game, I wouldn't have dreamed, like, because I love the PS2 series, I would have never dreamed movement like this in the series, and just having it feel like natural.
Oh no. Well, I got a little bit of a speed boost. It went a little bit.
This race can be a little bit wonky. That was a very interesting race,
yeah,
I will say.
Once you get too much height, you can't really do anything to just like stop your Speedle from just going. But yeah, like Insomniac, they are incredibly cool devs. I've never I don't know any other devs that are that appreciative of their like speedrun community. Any speedrun community I've been a part of, at least. But yeah. They're so cool. I love that they care so much about their communities and the speedrun community at that.
Yeah, like I think the closest I've seen, or very similar that I've seen, has been like Sega, because they'll sit there and put on like speedrun tricks and tips and movement tips. They did that for like Sonic Frontiers. They did it again for Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. Like they'll put out YouTube videos and invite speedrunners to like explain tricks and everything. Like we had like Argic narrate stuff for Sonic Frontiers, and had Callie Mackin narrate stuff for Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, and I think that's just so incredible to like incorporate the community in that way.
Yeah, I loved it when developers did those, when there was that, I guess, era of like YouTube where they were doing like the dev reacts, where they do like dev react to speedrunning. There's some like iconic ones. I know there's like a Doom one that's out there, and there's like a Psychonauts one that's out there. There's a ton that are out there, and they're so entertaining because you get to hear all the behind the scenes from the developers when they see the tricks, and you get to hear like if they knew about the glitch previously or some like the design philosophy around some of these things, and that stuff has always been awesome.
Or like when you get to show dev the first time they've ever seen a particular bug in the game and been like, I have no idea how that got there and I had no idea it existed. Oh no.
Yeah, I love that.
Has always been a threat to our
So we're getting all the stuff now in this level that we avoided earlier. So the pocket dimension here, and it's actually kind of cool getting the pocket dimension now because it cuts off the dialogue. You know, we've already seen this, but it cuts off the dialogue. So it means that when we get this gold bolt, the dialogue usually stops us from getting checkpoints to go back to the ship, but we can, because we went in here and cut off the dialogue, we'll get the checkpoint immediately when we get this gold bolt, where we can just restart and we're at the ship already. So that's cool. That's something that you can't do in AGB. You have to find a different way of getting the gold bolt and recovering from it to get back to the ship. Yeah. All right, so we're on to like the Act 2 stuff. We're on to our Dolus, which is the longest split in the game. But it has a lot of really cool strats like this one. Oh, I'm a little bit too high actually.
A lot of height.
I'm gonna redo that actually because I think I can pull it off better.
Captain Quantum is about to be executed.
Yeah, there's a checkpoint in this cave here that we got right there, and there's another one right here. Nice.
Clean. Yeah, we got like,
and then there's
4 checkpoints in that like wrench boost. So
yeah, and this is out of bounds, by the way. So like you can easily get out of bounds right here to skip a fight that's supposed to be in that next room. And funny enough, the checkpoint that ends the fight is just right here, like right outside of the door.
Yeah.
So we can just fully skip that.
These Versa targets all get sucked in from the same place.
this is the planet that most people would recognize from Tools of Destruction, by the way. Revamped and yeah, PS5 quality.
It's
like
back and better than ever.
This game takes place in the Polaris Galaxy, which is like where a lot of the PS3 series focuses on, right?
Yeah, because we have like Sargasso and Ardolus, so I believe like in this game's and like Rivet's dimension, this is like in that same galaxy, and then also introducing like all of the new planets that we just never knew about were in this galaxy, like Savali and Blizar, but yeah, this game does take tons of future inspiration, like Tauren 4 and Sargasso and Ardolus. So the future love in this game is really sick to see.
One note here, I need to get a checkpoint right there because we got to get, that's the start of the Map-O-Matic section, and we're going to get the whole Map-O-Matic later with 0 time loss pretty much. Well, almost minimal time loss, I should say. But yeah, it's really cool. It won't be coming up for like 7 more minutes because it takes that long just to get to that section. Ardolus is a long planet, but it will be really cool when we get there. We got a wrench boost here now that we're done with that fight. We did the dialogue mute. Oh, nice. Oh, and I got that gold bolt. Good. I don't have to get that later. That would be a thing where I would come back later if I missed it there, so I'm glad that I got that on the path. But yeah, I don't think we've actually... Did we explain dialogue muting, Sin? I can't remember.
No, I don't think we explained like how that actually works.
Yeah, we had a big dialogue mute there with Pierre that saves like 25 seconds. Yeah, so basically we like cut off and dialogue mute one of his lines. We're actually going to do it again here with the Shanty, with the Green Pirate. He's going to say this next line: "Think your pipes are ready for a shift and shuffle and shanty." And he's going to... I look at the subtitles to see when he's done with that. Then I just play a Spybot. This one's a little bit like has extra steps, but I play a Spybot and he's now infinitely muted. So now every time he sings, he doesn't sing, and it just skips to the end of the like singing sequence. But yeah, it's sad that he doesn't get to sing, but it makes us go faster.
Yeah, and it's only that one that we can mute, by the way. So it's none of these other ones, at least from what we found. We can't mute any of these other ones. It's only the green one.
Yeah. And it's also a meme in my community for us to always sing this shanty. So,
Yeah, it doesn't seem like we're getting a singing showcase this time, but yeah, like I feel like every time we do one of these, there's at least some form of singing for this shanty.
I'm sorry, I was locked in. Me hearties, sing shanties. There you go. You get a little taste.
There, we got a little bit of it. Yeah, so right here, Vito does just infinite jumping to the top of this elevator. There is like a gold bolt up here that we want to get. There were like older routes because there is like an out of bounds method that you can do to get to the next section, which then you can like lead back into here. But it's just faster to just scale the elevator and then just do it like this.
This is the last glitch puzzle we're gonna see.
Yeah, say goodbye to glitch. Wave goodbye to glitch.
I'm trying
We're
to
done with
glitch right now. So this doesn't save time at all. We're just like wait. We just have to wait for like 30 seconds. But you can actually go out of bounds if you go at this at the right angle. It's just a fun little thing that doesn't mean anything. Oh, did I do it? No. But yeah, that's our last glitch puzzle. There's actually one more after this, but we never do it. We can get the last gold bolt without us ever requiring to do the glitch. Like even this gold bolt, it's like inside this tube, and we've thought about like, is there going to be a way to clip into it? But we've never found a method to actually do it. We don't even know if the gold bolt's actually active, but you can like see it clearly in there. But it's like the glass wall is so thick that it makes it pretty much impossible to clip through. We're just
also right there, there's just like a hole in that wall.
Yeah.
I always love that out of bounds. That was something that we never even noticed until it was discovered by a strat hunter for this game named Mark, who literally just saw that there was just a hole right there and you can just immediately go out of bounds, which I find that so funny because we actually use it to skip a section here. So it's a little bit hard to see, but you can kind of see the ships up there. So in this section, there's going to be a ton of enemies that are spawning, and Vita's going to be killing them with the Shatter Bomb. And he's going to be listening for like specific dialogue lines here, because we want to turn this bolt crank, as you see like right here, before this boss spawns. And what'll happen is that it's just going to like kill the boss immediately. So we can skip that entire section. You can see there, you didn't even see it happen.
Yeah.
But like the health bar popped up for like a split second. And then like Vita just restarted checkpoint to finish the area.
It's kind of funny because they reuse this boss a lot, but like the fact that like we just skipped it or like completely just sent him out of bounds like so much in this run, it kind of seems like he's a unique boss. It's like the first boss that we fought in Nefarious City, that Juggernaut enemy that they kind of reuse. Yeah. So we're on the auto-scrollless section right now. It's an auto-scroller, but yeah, we like to call it auto-scrollless. So we have about like 2 minutes here where we just can't do anything to really speed it up. I'm gonna go get some Ruritanium while we're waiting here. But there's gonna be a cool strat at the end of this in 1 minute, at the end of this section, and for the rest of auto-scrollless, that's gonna go and get other collectibles while we're waiting for the ship to continue. But we can't go and leave it yet. We have to wait for it to reach a certain point and kill a certain amount of enemies before we can actually leave. Yeah. So
I have a reminder for everyone, by the way, if we're going to be auto-scrolling here. I just want to remind everyone that we have Back to Black coming up February 5th through the 8th. That's very, very near, by the way. It's going to be a 4-day speedrun marathon featuring Black speedrunners benefiting Race Forward. If you want to check out the schedule, you can use the !schedule command in the Twitch chat to check out the event, or visit gdq.gg/BAF to learn more. And Black in a Flash is, in fact, a community that uplifts and connects Black speedrunners of all levels, offering a space to collaborate on speedruns, challenge runs, and randomizers while celebrating Black voices in the speedrunning scene. If you want to learn more or apply to join, you can do that again at gdq.gg/BAF, and you can follow their Blue Sky account at blackinaflash.bsky.social for updates on the events. And definitely check out Back to Black on February 5th through the 8th.
all right, so we are now doing that kind of like no time loss thing. The ship is finishing its path kind of like right now, and we're going over to the Map-O-Matic route to try to Okay, good. I got some Shadow Bomb ammo. Let's try to finish this. So the fun part about this is we're not actually going to finish this fight. We're going to just get to a certain point to the next checkpoint because the ship is already at the end point where we can go back to the ship. If I had more Shadow Bomb, I would kill these guys really fast, but we're just going to have to wait for them to fall down, unfortunately. Okay, but then we can get this checkpoint up here. Okay, and then if we restart checkpoint twice, it puts us back on the ship. We can continue it, and I can go back because we got some more downtime, about like 20-30 seconds, where we can go do whatever we want. So I'm just gonna wrench boost back and go finish the Map-O-Matic path.
Yeah, we're like just having multiple sections just running at the same time here.
No!
It's like the Map-O-Matic pieces. Oh no.
That's okay, I can do it back
Oh,
up.
that teleporter should take you back.
I got it back up.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. But yeah, we're pretty much having like the ship section and like all this extra stuff we're doing, like the Map-O-Matic, and there's going to be another weapon that we're going to be buying here soon.
Nice.
And it just allows us to do all of this while it's running, so we're almost like losing no time by doing this because we have to do, because the main quest is the pirate ship section. So this is like all like no time loss. So there's like no, like, we're pretty much at like zero here by getting like all of these extra things because we have to wait for the pirate ship anyway.
Yeah. I'm also going to get the Warmonger right now. So this definitely does, at this point, is definitely losing time. But it still like minimizes it a lot because we save, yeah, like 20 seconds of those, like 40 seconds right there. Probably we were gonna wait for it during anyways. So yeah, I really like all the minimal or no time loss strats in this category. It's one of its highlights for sure. And I don't get to see a lot of other platformers in their all collectibles categories really get to deal with no time loss strats, because I feel like it's a game like this, a little bit more of a modern platformer where, you know, they're kind of like starting to set up like sequences with dialogue or with a cutscene where you get to see that actually get a chance to have strats like that, you know. We got one more because we got like 15 free seconds before the next checkpoint on the ship where we can go back and we can get the spy bot of this level.
Yeah, we pretty much clean up all the collectibles in this level during the pirate ship section because it's such a long auto scroller section that we can just get all the collectibles that we would need in this level and then just like restart checkpoint back to the ship.
Okay, even with me like hitting an invisible wall in the most random spot in midair, I still managed to only lose like 2 seconds there, so that was good.
Yeah, so on this fight, D-Dot's actually going over to the other ship slightly earlier than he's supposed to be to do a ton of damage to these two bosses. He is going to have to backtrack a little bit to grab the hurl shot, but he's going to do just enough damage to where when he does get over here after grabbing the checkpoint, he can just kind of one-shot the boss. You'll see that right here. He's going to grab that hurl shot and then just like kind of finish off these two bosses.
Yeah, you don't want to kill them both because it'll soft lock the fights, but yeah, try to get them as close to 1% health that you can, pretty much. I try to give him a little bit more health, but I was also a little bit falling behind. Normally I try to aim around 40% health left, but he had like 60% health left, but yeah. That's Sardolis though. We're just gonna quickly, because we did get the Warmonger and we did level it up on those bosses. Bosses help level up weapons so much. So, yeah, we're gonna level up the Warmonger. Yeah, you'll see how like the Warmonger, every level and every rare titanium upgrade that we do so many of it because all of them are needed and such a good upgrade in power every time we do upgrade the Warmonger, so it's really needed to get through these fights really fast. It's a really good weapon. Yeah.
Hey, we're back on Sargasso.
Yay!
Yeah, so this is like one of the levels that has a revisit. So this level has a revisit, and Savali also has a revisit that we haven't seen yet. And so pretty much Dr. Nefarious, well, I guess Emperor Nefarious is attacking Sargasso, so we have to kind of defend it here. and we have to stop the shenanigans that he's doing here. So we have to help the Morts out, and there's a sick wrench boost right here. We're going to hit a couple different checkpoints to just fly through all of this to the next fighting section.
And combat's very heavy in this, so I'll probably be a little focused.
Yeah, pretty much like all of this is fighting. Like majority of Sargasso 2 is just fighting. There are still a bunch of collectibles that is needing to be collected, but this first section here, a lot of it is just going to be wrench boosting straight to where the fights are, and of course we will pick up this pocket dimension really quick. Something to note though with these crates, this one you're supposed to like platform on the crates, but you can just jump on the dinosaur skeletons, which is very convenient.
Yeah.
If you hover boot on the crates, they will actually break. So I feel like this section can be like a bit confusing because, you're kind of trying to hover boot and all the crates are breaking. So it makes it convenient the skeletons are there. And thankfully restarting checkpoint will bring you back to the main fight that we're supposed to be doing.
Oh, I missed that guy. Oh, no. I missed 2 Warmonger shots. Ammo is very tight right here, so I don't like that. But yeah, I'm going to try to make sure that he gets retopiated before I waste all my shots. Yeah, so I'm going to have to go back to Shatter Bomb here. And hopefully I have enough Shatter Bomb to finish these guys off. Okay, good. We're good. Cool.
So when I was with Clank,
So now we have a kit puzzle. It's the only kit puzzle in the game. But of course, just like any of the other Clank puzzles, we're going to skip it. So this whole thing is like a big rail section that's in front of us, but this is one where the checkpoint isn't very lenient, so we can just do this and go around it to this ship.
Yeah, that checkpoint, like that trigger zone, extends very far down from the ship. I don't know why it does, but like it extends all the way down to pretty much like the swamp.
Like all of the triggers in this game are like box triggers, and they're so condensed often. But then this one is just like, it just goes down so much. This trick here, we're very lazy about walking to Trudy, so we just decide to let her basically land right next to us using photo mode abuse. Yeah, photo mode abuse is just so handy in so many different applications, in this run. It's very cool. We're gonna try and get a gold bolt here for 0 time loss. Actually, I lied. It's not quite 0 time loss. It'll probably be like 3 seconds time loss, maybe. It's faster than if you go get it any other method. But yeah, we're gonna shoot that shield because it starts Kit's dialogue early. So we definitely want to shoot the shield, but then we're gonna come over here, just barely grab that gold bolt, and then we're gonna take down these ships. Now, because I'm a little bit further back, I have to kind of just chuck these randomly. If you're close enough, you'll get a prompt that will lock on, but I just kind of have to gauge if right there you saw the prompt. If you see the square prompt right next to my middle of my screen, then it will always connect. But on that first one, I have to kind of just randomly chuck it and hope that it arcs perfectly to destroy the ship. It's not too hard as long as you do a little practice with it. But yeah, we're done with all the main story stuff, so now it's on to all the collectible stuff. We got Zerp Stones. Zen, do you want to explain what Zerp Stones are?
Yeah, I think I know what they are. they're like the stuff that Trudy is eating.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah. So one of the many Morts has tasked us with collecting a lot of Zerp Stones. I know it says only 15. You can see we have 21 out of 15. There is a lot of Zerp Stones, and fortunately, in all collectibles, there are armor pieces that are tied behind getting every single Zerp Stone in the map.
Oh, are these like the crystals in the desert?
Yeah, pretty
and the
much.
Sewer crystals and oh god.
Yep. So yeah, it's pretty much that. So what you're gonna see here is B-Dud actually has memorized where every single one of these Zerp Stones are. I believe there's 45 total.
There are 60
that's
total.
kinder than previous.
Oh no, there's 60 total.
Never
no,
mind.
it's 45 for the breath, right? It's 45 for the breath.
Yeah, I actually
and
missed
60
one.
total.
I'll have to go back for one later, but that's okay.
Yeah, and so Beta pretty much has all the positions memorized for where the Zerf Stones are. So you'll see he's just going to be going straight to each of them. As you see here, he picked up one of the pocket dimensions that he skipped earlier on like the first visit to Sargasso. There are some Zerf Stones as well that are like on top of like some like the pillars, and you'll see once we get enough. That's where that 45 came in that I mentioned earlier. So if we get 45, we'll be able to actually like breathe fire with Trudy, and that's where we'll be able to get like the remaining ones. So Beta is pretty much doing all the wrench boosts and all the needful needed to get to each of like the spots that we're able to get.
I gotta do it.
Ideally, we want to try and get like all the ground ones like right away. So then once we get to Trudy, we just have to worry about the air ones. Also, that is always a sick wrench boost to see.
Nice. Okay, that one we get a wrench boost while hitting that Zerp Stone. It's kind of cool. Just mow these guys down. Okay, so I need to go get the Zerp Stone that I missed. So we're gonna use this real fast. Oh no, too much speed. This is definitely like the rail that you use if you're just playing around with this level to get as much speed. Oh, where is it? I thought it was gonna be right here. It has to be somewhere nearby. Hold on. Actually, I have a handy dandy map. Hold on.
Yeah, it could be the one further back or something.
Oh, it's this one. Okay, I see which one it is.
Yeah. Thankfully for the Zerp Stones, the map does tell you where they're all at, but you have to have the mathematic, and it will tell you where they're all at. So if for some reason you do miss one in this category, you can just go back and figure out where it's at, where you're missing. So yeah, you see there, when Beta did pass that, he did get like the first armor piece that you get from the Zerf Stones. It's good to mention as well that this is actually the same with the Lorbs. So if you're wondering like, hey, why are you guys getting all the Lorbs? Why are you guys getting all the Zerf Stones? There is armor pieces tied behind getting all of those like optional items. So that's why we have to do these, because we have to get all of the armor pieces for all collectibles.
Yep, we get a spy bot at the end or armor pieces. So yeah, even if we would probably include them anyways, honestly, in all collectible criteria, but it definitely makes it easier to decide when it actually gives us one of the main collectible pieces in the end. But yeah, we now have Trudy. She breathes fire, so we're gonna get all the. We could actually get these like with wrench boost, but it is actually just faster to do it with Trudy. But I did try to route this one time to see if I could get all these with wrench boost. It was hard, and nowhere near as fast as what we do with Trudy right here. So yeah, but that's all 60 of them. Holy moly, that's what Mort says. But yeah, we get the last Zerf Stone pretty far away from where we have to turn them in, so I'm just gonna do this handy dandy. I'm gonna redo that. Yeah, I gotta do this wrench boost to get us back to the start of the level pretty much. And I'm doing a lot of I'm too fast. Oh, this might work actually.
Maybe. This one's always cool.
I have to do an IWB here, by the way, which I don't think we've explained yet.
Yeah,
it's just not giving me the proxy.
Yeah, it pretty much stands for, as like Beta is trying to get this here, it pretty much stands for interrupting wrench boost. So we can actually like stop a wrench boost and then redirect its speed somewhere else. So normally if we do a wrench boost, we have to stay along whatever angle it's on until it allows us to jump, because you have to wait a certain amount of time and then the game lets you jump. But you can actually interrupt that by like pushing back on the stick and then moving it forward again, and it allows you to like redirect all the speed somewhere else. So it pretty much means that we can just do super fast wrench boosts on these small slants and carry all of that speed, and those are actually used quite a bit in the run. It's just that you might not notice them that much because they just seem very similar to like normal wrench boosts. And you can see right there we ended up getting back to the ship.
Yeah.
Holy buckets.
We get our last reward here, which the last reward is a spy bot for getting everything.
You earned this spy bot and then some.
Yeah, the IWBs is definitely like when you're towards like world record, you'll definitely be like get a better handle on how they work and how you kind of cut off the animation to jump faster out of them. But yeah, it's a very fast flick that you have to do very suddenly after you wrench boost. So there's even a little tough on the hands, honestly. But yeah, we're done with Sargasso. Really cool level with a lot of cool, all collectible stuff that you only see in this category. But we're on to like trying to. Basically, we're back in Savali now. We were supposed to go back to Xerxes now that Rivet and Ratchet both did their like things for what they were trying to do to stop the Emperor. And now we're met up again here, and we have like kind of like 4 story bits. This level's a little bit slow in general because they're like going through a lot of dialogue. It's still kind of cool and there's cool things to show off, but yeah. We have our last collectible on this level too because the gold bolts on Savali used to be like somebody is still alive. Hello? Oh, hello. Okay, there we go. Got the checkpoint. I can restart it. Yeah, there's one collectible that's just never active on your first visit to Savali, but it's active now, now that we're in nighttime Savali, pretty much. So we'll get that. It's supposed to be associated to the last glitch puzzle, but we're just gonna go out of bounds instead. Yeah, sorry, glitch, but we're gonna skip you. We're not even gonna skip puzzle this time. We're just gonna straight up skip even interacting with your puzzle. So yeah, I'm sorry, glitch. But it'll be a really cool strat, so it'll be worth it.
Oh yeah, and the gold bolt we're missing as well, I think is so funny because on the first visit, it'll still list it in the ship. So like you could just be like trying to find where that last gold bolt is on your first visit, and the game never gives you an indication that like you can't access it until a later section.
Yeah.
So you could just be roaming the entire map like, where's this gold bolt? And you just have to eventually be like, you eventually have to give up and then realize at this point in the game, way later on, that's when you have to get it.
Yeah, it's kind of evil.
It would drag me up the wall.
So yeah, we have this kind of elevator. It's not like we're just trying to make sure the combat's going smooth enough. It doesn't have to be like split second quick, but fast enough where because the elevators will actually slow if it thinks that you're spending too long on combat. So we need to do it fast, but it doesn't matter if it's to the very fastest second. This fight though, we can do as fast as possible. So I do 2 topiaries, once 1 topiary. So once I damage an enemy, the topiary effect goes off. So if I have 2 lined up like that, the enemy's gonna get re-topiaried instantly. So that setup there is very lenient. It also does depend on how the sprinkler is like sprinkling around. So it can be like some very small RNG, but it's usually pretty reliable. We have 3 pressure plates right here. Same old Savali at nighttime. I'm gonna make sure. I was gonna say I'm gonna make sure these guys don't hit me, but they hit me. So. Okay. So we don't have to do this as fast as possible, but like right there, I think I was literally perfect in my timing of getting to that pressure plate on time for when it activated. But you'll see with this one, the pressure plate's actually down right now. So similar to that other one, once it comes up means that's the first possible time where I can actually interact with it. But this is where we're going to get the last gold bolt. So they open up kind of like the catacombs for us right here. I'm just going to be like, I'm just going to ignore that and do a wrench boost right here. And then go off the edge here. And nice. Got it.
Yeah. Shout out to like the entire just wall of like the edge of the map just having 0 collision. You can just go through it for some reason.
Yeah, once you go down at a certain point. And it's pretty close to the death barrier too at the bottom too. So that yeah, you can go out of bounds in a lot of places, but specifically for that gold bolt, like that's the best spot for us to do it pretty much.
This place is huge.
Okay, so we got Catacomb Skip. This is a kind of hard, notorious one, but I usually have it nailed down pretty well.
Yeah, this can be a tricky wrench boost because you want to get the right amount of speed because there is a checkpoint here that you do have to hit with this portal that's going to be opening in a second. Yeah, so we want to hit something there. And then from there, we're able to jump like straight to the end. This is always like a really tricky wrench boost to hit because if you touch any of like the swamp sections, you can sizzle like back to the beginning. And this section has always been kind of like a run killer in pretty much like all of the categories because it's just very easy to lose time here if you don't get just like the best wrench boost imaginable. Because if you restart checkpoint at any point, it's going to spawn you to like whatever part you were supposed to be at. So pretty much you kind of have to back it up if you hit one of the checkpoints and you don't get it right.
Oh, this is where Clank swears.
Yeah, Clank says a bad word here. Cover your ears.
There's actually a strat to dialogue his swear line in the other categories. It doesn't save any time here, but or I guess it's just New Game Plus, because it kind of like cuts off the monk's dialogue right here. But yeah, on any percent cats, it kind of like the combat moves so slowly that it doesn't matter. It just like doesn't actually save time. Because a lot of the Clank and Rivet dialogue goes too far into the combat, pretty much. But yeah, that's the volley. That's the volley 2. Now we're going on to Viscerin. I really like Viscerin. It's a kind of hard planet, and there's a lot of like little downtime here and there because you're watching Ratchet and Kit Cell just move forward, and you have to rely on that. But in all collectibles, we actually are. It's kind of like a timer for some points. So like we have a timer to go get some collectibles while we're waiting for it to reach a certain point sometimes. So off the bat here, we're gonna get the first gold bullet in Viscerin. I'm just gonna get to this part up here, but then I'm gonna do a really big wrench boost to go around the intended portions of it.
Has to be where Ratchet and Clank are being held. And Kit.
Just like that. Nice.
Yeah. Thankfully, conveniently, there's like a spot in the wall there that we can just go straight through. And thankfully, we can do a wrench boost here to get to the next section that we're supposed to be at. But we're not going to be going straight inside of the base because there's a checkpoint right there. Like, you probably missed it because that wrench boost was very quick.
I might have actually. I don't know if I got that checkpoint or not. I guess we'll find out in a second.
Yeah, I guess we'll see if we got that. But yeah, there is a checkpoint that's at the start of that part that we want to hit, because if we don't, Clank will not spawn here. So we'll see if we get that.
Yeah, he's not there.
Okay, he's not there. Yeah.
Okay, that's okay.
See ya.
So we can just do. I can show off the New Game Plus wrench boost strat.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, that's the checkpoint right there that we wanted to hit. Oh. So it's, for some reason, it's like on top of that invisible wall. It's also like underneath it as well, but I don't know why it's on top of it too. So we can just wrench boost and just go right over it. It's like kind of what Vito was saying earlier with the some of like the trigger zones, is that some of them just extend up like way too high for some reason, and that was another one of them.
Ooh, nice. I Mission Impossible that door. Went through at the very last second before it closed in on me. Okay, so this is our 23rd gold bolt. So there's one more gold bolt that we can get on this level. And once we do, we can actually turn on cheat codes, because they give us like little cheat codes. Also, this is really cool. Oh, dang it. Almost got that to carry forward all the way, but that's okay. But yeah, we get they can have cheat codes that we can turn on, and like normally they just give you like rewards in the menu, where if you collect enough gold bolts, you can change like your weapon skin, or you can change like confetti comes out when you hit enemies, or you change your ship skin. But once you get like to 23 and 24 gold bolts, you can turn on infinite health and infinite ammo, which is very helpful for the all gold bolts category and this category, because the hardest combat sections in the game, the entire final level, the final combat at the end of this planet, and the arena stacking, like it helps trivialize combat quite a bit, because it's quite hard when you have to deal with ammo, let me tell you.
Yeah, and a lot of the Ratchet series as well has these like gold bolt like rewards or like cheat codes and like extra items that you can get. So the gold bolts have been kind of a staple in a majority of the Ratchet games, where they kind of give you unlockable things. And a lot of them are meant to also be used for like New Game Plus if you're doing like second playthroughs, or if you're trying to do like faster playthroughs. It's sort of like that ease of access where it's like, oh, okay, like I have infinite ammo and I don't have to worry about that, and you know. So yeah, it's always been a staple like in the series to have those things.
Oh, I just have enough for the cold snap. I have to buy that for a specific for the arena challenges later. Otherwise, because you need like freeze enemies later. But I just like upgrade everything. I actually wanted to have my Warmonger to level 5, and it's just a smidge off, so we'll have to deal with the arena stacking without a level 5 Warmonger, which isn't the biggest deal. But yeah, it might like lose me like, you know, like 10 seconds or something overall. But then we get that pocket dimension. That's our last pocket dimension. And then we have this cool wrench boost. I have to get that trigger right there to spawn these rift tethers, and then I'm clear to go up here. Nice. All right. So we also have another wrench boost. This is a really funny one because we have to go like pretty much all the way around this just to get a trigger. It's like a lot. Oh, okay. I didn't mean to do that, but you can actually get a collectible through the wall there. So I guess we don't have to worry about getting that collectible now. But the checkpoint that I wanted to get was right here. And then if I restart it, Ratchet's here, and I can like move forward to get their cell moving. And then I have about 30 seconds to do whatever I want before their cell gets to the console that I can activate. So we got the gold bolt there. I would have gotten the armor piece right now, but because we already got it, I'm just gonna do this wrench boost. And you can kind of see what I mean, where since I got here early, this is red and I can't interact with it. But Ratchet's cell is, oh, it already went past us, never mind. So yeah. So yeah, we kind of use, that's another like no time loss strat kind of for the collectibles there in a way. Yeah, but now that I've collected 24 gold bullets, I can go into the menu here and I can turn on infinite health and infinite ammo. And now I can shoot this rocket launcher as much as I want.
Yeah, this section coming up here is another section where you'll see some like really impressive movement with the wrench boosting. This is another section where we're kind of hitting a bunch of boosts and like moving very quickly. But instead of doing that, we can actually just wrench boost instead. And we get a lot of speed through this section. This section can be difficult because there is a lot of debris and like other things that is kind of in the way, and then there's like a grind roll section that you also kind of land on, so there is like a couple strats to kind of avoid some of those. So you'll see right here, Beat avoided that first boost to off like wrench boost right here to just kind of fly through this whole section, trying to avoid everything here. This part is like a little bit hard to avoid, like just mainly this grind rail part, but thankfully there's another part right here where we can get a wrench boost for the rest of this.
Oh, nice. Oh, I got a little hype boost there too. Nice.
There, quickly, we must slingshot onto that evacuation platform.
And then we can skip all those hurl shots by doing that wrench boost. And then when we restart checkpoint, this fight will just immediately start.
Okay, and this is the really big fight where I said doing this without infinite ammo is incredibly tough. But even with infinite ammo, you got to know the spawns very, very well and know exactly how things spawn. And I think I actually... I'm going to restart that, actually. I think I didn't kill everyone on the ship when I wanted to.
If they get away, we may lose them entirely.
Okay, so this should take 2 direct shots at Warmonger. Okay. There we go. Those guys are spawning now. But yeah, there's like, probably like 10, 15 different waves of enemies that kind of just spawn around this whole thing. And it's a very... It takes a lot to know exactly how all of them spawn, when they spawn, and when to intercept their paths at an optimal time.
Yeah, it's also just another big example of what we were seeing earlier, especially like with the spa fight earlier, where we're trying to kill a certain amount of enemies for the next wave to spawn. This is like a very much more complex version of that, where we need to know exactly the enemies that are flying in and when we need to be killing them so then the next waves can spawn. Because it is very easy to lose a lot of time during this fight, especially if there's like maybe a ship in the corner that's spawning enemies, you just don't know about it, so you have to be keeping track of the waves that you're actually completing, so then you know where the next ones are spawning. And you'll see right here, Vito actually threw a couple topiaries down because there's actually like a double boss fight here, but they each share 50% of like the same health bar. So Vita's just gonna stand on this middle platform and just keep spamming between the Warmonger and the Shatter Bomb. which is something we haven't really mentioned that much of, like the weapon swapping. You actually see a lot more of that in like New Game Plus. But pretty much you can shoot one weapon and swap to another and throw it. And you're pretty much just maximizing the amount of damage you're doing because you don't have to wait for like a lot of the cooldowns on the weapons, right? So you don't have to wait for the Warmonger to do all that single shots. You can just switch and then use a different weapon instead.
Yeah. So we got arena stacking coming up. This is probably the highlight of the run. Then do you want to explain this?
Okay, so I am going to attempt to explain how this works. So this is like probably one of the coolest parts of the run. So what BDUT is going to do is he's going to be selecting an arena challenge. And then after he selects it, right before it starts, he's going to be entering photo mode. And then he's going to exit photo mode and then select another challenge. And so what he's going to be doing is he's just going to be repeating that over and over again. So you can see here he's selecting multiple different challenges and then sort of going back and then starting those again. And so what he's actually doing is he's taking a ton of challenges and stacking them on top of each other. So right now, he actually has 3 missions playing at the exact same time. So you can see like the Mangler is like rolling around in the background. You can see like there's amoeboids. There's like some of the spawns, like you see the Mangler just like showing up out of nowhere. And so yeah, so this actually takes a lot of management. I'm pretty sure like nobody does this without notes because this is like very complicated, like the way that this works. And so I have like some side notes of what's actually playing right now. So the missions that are actually in play right now are Freezer Bop, which is what he's completing first. And then Kaboom Stick Blast is what's playing next, which is what the Nefarious Troopers are for. And then he also has the Mangling that's being played, which is where the Mangler is at. So you can see right here, he just completed the Freezer Bop challenge. And so the other challenges are still actually playing in the background. So what BDUT is going to do is he's going to stack another challenge on top of that. So all this is that you need to keep track of the challenges that you have that are active in the arena. And then you also need to be starting the next challenge. And so what we're doing is that because we have so many challenges going on at the same time, they're all going to be getting completed kind of around the same time. So it skips a lot of this process for having to do all of the challenges individually on their own. In terms of how this can get kind of messy is if you start or stack a mission that is in play currently or that you just did, the entire thing soft locks. So you have to keep track of every little thing that's happening. So BDUT is not randomly killing enemies right now. He's killing specific enemies because he wants a certain challenge to end. So the one that he's trying to end right now is the Kaboom Stick Blast, which is the one that's spawning all of the like Nefarious Troopers like out of the portals.
Yeah.
So he's trying to avoid like those other enemies, but he needs to be careful because the Manglers Are Forever challenge is also running. So there's actually 2 Mangler challenges that are kind of running right now, and those, in a sense, like kind of autocomplete themselves because there's like a ton of enemies that are also kind of getting killed along the way. So when BDUT is killing the enemies for like Room Around and for like Kaboom Stick Blast, it's also like unintentionally killing enemies from the other challenges as well, right? So in a sense, you also have to keep track of the enemies that are dying from those challenges because if you kill too many of them, then that challenge will end earlier and that's going to like mess it up, right? Because if a challenge ends too early, then it kind of throws off the whole formula for this. And so you can see right there, he just completed Kaboom Stick Blast. All the other challenges are still playing. And so you notice that he did queue up another challenge into the arena stack, and that one is called LOL That's Random. That is actually what it's called. It is actually called LOL That's Random. And pretty much what this challenge is it gives Ratchet, or not Ratchet, it gives Rivet random weapons. So I don't actually remember like the order of the weapons it actually gives you, but you can see also that was weird. It's got like launched there.
Yeah, it was wrench
But you
boost.
can see it. Yeah, but you can see like it says like weapon swapped at the bottom like every so often. So the game is supposed to force you into using a certain weapon to kill the enemies with. But for some reason, since like all of these are kind of stacked, we can just use the wrench. So the wrench counts as completion for each of these weapons. So every time you see like weapon swapped and Vita's been killing them with just the wrench, it's counting that for like the lull that's random challenge. So you can see it happen just right there where it's just swapping it. You also notice that Vita was also using like the Enforcer a little bit as well, because there is a challenge that also requires like using the Enforcer. You can see there some of like the text was also stacked a little bit, where like it says that we just entered wave 5 in something and we also like just won in something else. You kind of have to be careful here a little bit, because if you complete a challenge and another challenge gets completed at the same time on top of it, it doesn't mark off one of them. So you would have to do it again. So we have to be really careful here. Yes, yep.
Yeah, so that's why specifically once the last challenge victory screen came up, you see, I knew I was one away from finishing that next challenge. So I made sure to just like stop and just like not kill anything, because I knew it was like super close. Yeah.
Excuse me, Rivet, you seem to have a platform inside of you.
Oh yeah, don't worry about that. It
She's
happens.
fine.
It'll happen again, like probably in like the next time we load up a challenge, honestly.
Also, like an hour ago, someone came in chat and said, if I really enjoyed Ratchet Deadlocked, would I like this game? If you look at this nonsense, the answer is yes. If this appeals to you, yes.
Yeah, and you'll also notice that Vita had also started a challenge that he already completed. This is because at some point in like our missions that we're trying to do, we're gonna run out of ones to stack.
Okay.
So Vita is pretty much gonna be stacking ones that we've already done, just to make sure that we still have active like stacked challenges. So the ones that he's completed now since then was the Mangling should be completed. And then Lol That's Random, I believe, should have completed right there.
Yeah.
And so now we're trying to complete Room Around, which is where we have...
We just completed Room Around,
goons.
actually.
Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, so Room Around should be done.
We're doing Pest Control right now, which has to be completed on the same time it gets activated. If another challenge finishes, this is like the only challenge where if another challenge finishes before it, you're just like... it just goes into infinity, like that UI menu on the side. It'll just like say it can go to infinity out of 50 pest control, pretty much. So we want to make sure we do all 50 pests right now before anything else completes. Also, shout out to Mark for kind of coming out with this route for the arena challenges. I did not figure this out. This was Mark that figured out the order of how to do this appropriately. So big shout outs to him.
Yeah, no, this is
100%.
something wild here.
Yeah, this is just like a huge mess. Like, I still remember when we initially started like routing this, we were almost just kind of doing it like at random. We were kind of just doing it as we go, because we weren't really sure like how to predict when the challenges were going to end or anything. So we just kind of attack everything, and then as it got completed, we would almost like have our separate notes, and we would like type stuff down like as we do it. So we're like, okay, this is done, let's do this next. And so Mark like went in and kind of actually routed out, you know, the challenge order. And this challenge order, I feel like, has been the same for quite a while. And yeah, it's a super efficient route. You'll see as well, like on Pest Control, I believe in Pest Control you're supposed to use the Cold Snap, right, for this? Or is it just like killing the pests, I believe?
You do need to buy the Cold Front. Wait, sorry. I didn't hear that question right, I think.
Yeah. Yep, it's for the actual Pest Control challenge. I believe we're supposed to use the Cold Snap, right? But like, because they're stacked, we don't have to use it. We can just use like any weapon.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we can just use any weapon on this. So now we're gonna load back up Manglers Are Forever, just get back in there. I was trying to do the 25 goons with Enforcer challenge, so I got that count to like 22 while I was doing pest control. So hopefully we can finish it. Okay, I got a victory on something there. Shoot.
This is like
A ride.
This is part of the experience we were mentioning before.
I think that
How
was
like, this
good
can
time
get
to zoom.
complicated.
Okay, that was good time to zoom. Okay, cool.
Okay, cool.
So I'll load up this.
Yeah.
So by completing the 4 challenges in a cup, you unlock the last challenge, which is like basically the secret P returns and you kill it. I need to make sure I kill these
shoots a
5
shot,
goons before
wins.
they like don't spawn in anymore. So this is very important. So there's 2 of them. I need like a few more. I need to complete this right now. Okay, good. We got it. Good.
Nice.
Okay, so now we're gonna, I think we can chain, this is going actually really smoothly, the arena stacking. This is really good. So I should be able to chain both of the secret Ps. Usually it doesn't get this far. Yeah, we've completed all of them, so now we just do the boss cups now. So both of the skull loaves are gonna be on top of each other. You actually see this a lot in Hundo because this is kind of like the XP weapon leveling form that's an hour long, but essentially these 2 are just gonna plop on top of each other. Yeah, I love it. Also, the game changed up where my weapons are in the weapon wheel, so that's fun. Yeah, it's because the arena stacking kind of like some of them give you new weapons. So they just like place them randomly in the weapon wheel and they're just like, okay, good luck figuring out where your weapons are now.
Oh my god.
I also love this as well because since all the other missions are playing, like as
goodbye
we're
muscle
attacking the
memory.
Scolipede, you just see keep popping up wave 2, wave 3, wave 5, like victory, like just
Yeah.
all the other challenges are like popping up while we're fighting the Scolipede, and it's so funny.
Yeah. Okay. So we have been successful with every single challenge so far. We only have 2 left. This is actually really good because most arena stacking, you almost always mess up at least
like,
1
yeah,
or 2 and have to redo
the
them
game
at the
can
end.
definitely count.
That's how most runs go, but this looks like a pretty cleanly executed arena stack. Yeah, we only have 1 more now.
Earlier
Yeah,
in the
something
chat. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're good, you're good.
I was just saying earlier in the chat, we were having a discussion about someone was like, how do you even find stuff like this? And how do you get into speedrunning, that sort of thing? Those sorts of questions were being asked. And it's like, honestly, there's a,
I have to restart this.
Uh-oh.
Okay, we were almost to the end without a single mistake. I loaded a challenge that was already active. In
no.
Yeah. So
We
that's
got to
what.
see it live.
Yeah, that's what happens. You know, the ground's like gray when rivets dropping in, and basically, yeah, the whole fight just like soft locks pretty much. But that's okay because we only have 1 left. So, and this is
Okay,
one where
good.
we pretty much had to do the whole fight anyway, still. So it didn't really change much. So we're still good.
it's like, of all the times to make the mistake, that's where you want to make the mistake.
Exactly. You don't want to do it in the middle. That would be terrible. You'd have to make up like 3 or 4 different arena challenges probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we were talking about like how if you don't want to be a person who runs the game, or like maybe you're not very good at running games or whatever it may be, there are people who glitch hunt and route and everything, and mentioning Mark was the one who eventually routed this out, and like with all the information from the community, Mark ID'd themselves as one of the people who contributes to speedruns by never doing a run themselves. They just figure out other things.
Yeah.
And I think that's genuinely really cool.
It is so cool. I love just the glitch hunters and everyone contributing to the runs. Like, because you can see the passion of people just wanting to just discover how the speedruns form, and how to, like find glitches and find routes. I'm in for speedrunning mostly for the routing, honestly, and that's why I'm like in with a lot of like PlayStation games as they release. But yeah, it's like so cool to see people love the game just for a lot of different reasons instead of just like going for PBs or world record,
Yeah, it's more than just grinding speedruns. It can be routing it can be creating new categories that are fun, it can be creating side content like bingo runs, randomizers, you name it. Like, there's a role in speedrunning for everybody, even if it has nothing to do with playing the video games yourself. You can also just volunteer for events and stuff. Just like, this is a home for everyone, and speedrunning's meant to be fun, so have fun with it.
Yeah. So we're on the
we're
final
actually
level
coming up
now.
here.
Yeah, we got like
Yeah.
time maybe in like 4 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, and something cool to distinct as well, just really quick from the run, is obviously there's also like a 100% category for this game, and we're playing all collectibles. So where the difference is between all collectibles and 100% is it's just the weapon levels. So in 100%, what we would do is we would just stay in the arena, and we would buy every single weapon. We would get every single weapon to max level. We would get all the raritanium upgrades. So that's where like that separation is just leveling up all the weapons, which we don't have to do that in this category.
I'm gonna skip that cutscene with a little visual thing. Cool. Yeah, and like also Hundo will require a full new game plus playthrough. It's like if you've seen like Hundos of other Ratchet games, most of them call it max percent because it's like literally maxing everything out, not just collecting everything. This all
Because like New Game
collectibles
Plus
run.
also usually gives new levels to weapons, right?
Yeah, and 2 new weapons completely in
Yeah.
this. Yeah. But yeah, like all collectibles, basically if I were to go to the main menu after this, my percentage on my file would be at like probably like 95%, 97%. So pretty much everything of what like the devs would clarify as 100%. So yeah. Yep. So we have this suit here. We don't want to topiary him, even though it would do more damage, because if we topiary him and we damage him and he comes out of the topiary effect, he kind of goes back into the portal like instantly. So we want him to just be out here as long as possible so we can maximize damage. He goes to 25% and then he's required to go back in before we can go do more damage. I'm gonna actually do some topiaries at the end here for like his hand stuff. Yeah. This suit can also like soft lock. Yeah, it's not fun. I've had a lot of runs die, both in this category and New Game Plus, where basically the suit can just soft lock at 25% and you have to restart the fight if he doesn't like take the portal out again to finish the fight for you. So that can be like a fun like 50-second time loss right at the end of the run.
Oh god.
Yeah. It's kind of has to do with like if he's being topiaried as he leaves a portal, I think. But yeah, it's always been a nightmare to kind of like try to avoid. We're gonna go into his heart and beat it up.
Yeah, we're gonna destroy his heart by, not attacking him with weapons, but we're actually seeing the wrench have some use here. So we're gonna throw the wrench at all these bulbs for the heart, and then we're gonna use weapons here to destroy the actual like core that's like underneath the heart. And then we'll be transitioning into the final phase of this boss, and also where time is approaching.
You want to explain Death Water strats?
Oh yeah, so this is like pretty much the last strat of the game. Pretty much we're waiting for Nefarious to say like certain dialogue, and then we're going to jump and hyperstrike into the water that's like behind the arena. And if you time it right, Nefarious will actually punch into the water like as he's charging towards you, and it will just instantly beat the boss. So you can see like he's just nowhere to be seen. There's no health bar or anything. And so after he dives into the water, oh nice. So after he dives into the water, pretty much you have to kill the enemies in a specific way to prevent soft locking, which you see B-Dog got right here. And so this is pretty much like the end of the run after Nefarious finishes talking.
Yeah, it can be a little RNG if you get especially in, that's time by the way. Yeah, it can be a little RNG on if you kill the enemies quick enough, otherwise the fight just soft locks and you have to restart it. But it's like a 30-second time save, and it takes 30 seconds to restart it and get back to that point. So it's always worth usually trying to go for it if you can get it on average within 2 or 3 attempts. But yeah, really cool strat. That's kind of the newer strat that was found like, what, a year and a half ago, which is pretty new compared to most of the things that you're seeing in this run. So yeah, but that's ripped aparts, all collectibles. Probably like, definitely like one of the least played categories in ripped apart, but probably one of the coolest. You have the arena stack and you have all the 0 time loss strats in a lot of the levels. It's very, very cool, and I'm very thankful that I got to show it off on the Hotfix. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this run. This run has been incredible to watch, and y'all did absolutely amazing with explaining everything in the run and everything. I have a first off, I want to make sure we get shout outs out to the community as we start wrapping up, and also I'm curious about any upcoming speed projects for the two of you, because you recently did Claire Obscure at AGDQ, and you're doing this here, so you know it's more of a what's next for you.
Yeah, so to start off with shout outs, so of course the whole Ratchet community, I love their just like across all the games, I love everyone's dedication to their games and for keeping up the standards across all the games. Specifically with Ripped Apart, really want to thank Nautical Turtle, T-Dex, really two good runners of this game that have a lot of passion for this game, and I love to see that passion from them. Sen, thank you so much for commentating with me and explain everything. And anybody you want to, and of course Mark for like all collectible strats and all the hundo strats too, because he routed a lot of stuff in hundo. But yeah,
Thank you.
Anything else you want to add on to the shout outs, Sin?
No, I guess just second guessing or just, following up on that, just the Ratchet community. Just the Ratchet community is always like very supportive of all of the games in the series, regardless if it's the most run game or the least run game. There's always community members that are running all of those games. So any of the Ratchet games you want to run, you can go to the speedrun.com page. We have all the games in one server. Everyone's very nice and supportive. So definitely, if you're interested in this series, definitely check it out. The community is really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and be sure to follow these two. And like I said, what's next on the docket for you? More Ratchet, or is there another game that's caught your eye?
Yeah, so I've been submitting Ratchet Ripped Apart every GDQ, like for the main events, and I've actually updated the world record in every category in Ripped Apart like 3 months ago. So now is the perfect time, if any, for me to kind of try to get this up onto the main stage, hopefully. So I'm going to be trying to work hard to try to work on these submissions for SGDQ, and we might see all collectibles amongst all that perchance. So yeah.
For sure, strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah.
And Sin, what's going on with you? Like, you said you run this game a lot. You've definitely been involved in the Ratchet series for a long time. Like, what's next for you?
Yeah, so I've kind of been like jumping around a lot recently between some like the PlayStation franchises. So as you know, I've ran pretty much all the Ratchet games. I've also run a bunch of like the Spyro games as well, a lot of like the GBA ones. I did a little bit of like Spyro 3. That was like a lot of fun. I have also run Sly. I've run Sly 1, Sly 4, and Sly 2. The only one I have not run is Sly 3. And so in terms of like what's next for me in terms of PlayStation, there's really only a couple PlayStation franchises that I haven't run yet. And so I've actually been starting to get into the Jack series.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. I was like, you haven't mentioned Jack yet. Hold on.
Yeah. So I actually recently started getting into Jack 3, and that has been so much fun. And the community has already been very supportive. I will just say just the overall PlayStation Nation encompassing all of the games is also just absolutely awesome, and everyone kind of crosses over. So there'll be familiar faces in like all of the franchises. So yeah, the Jack series has kind of been where I've been looking towards next. So that's been exciting.
Well, I hope you enjoy your time with that series, because I've heard nothing but great things about it.
Oh yeah, the tech is very cool.
It is.
And you have anything else to add, B-Dud?
Not really. Yeah, I'll be at my Twitch. I'm doing a lot of Clear Obscure nowadays, and we'll probably continue to do that for quite a while. But yeah, I'll definitely be like here for a lot of new PlayStation games. Definitely sticking to Ripped Apart forever, and if a new Ratchet game comes out, I'll definitely be doing that as well. But I usually try to keep my stuff more modern. But that's about it for me.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. This has been a blast. I love the Rack series, and getting this as my first Rift Apart speedrun experience, couldn't ask for better. So I want to thank all of you in chat for being here tonight. And please look after yourselves and your loved ones. Drink some water, stretch your legs, eat a snack, take your medicine or your vitamins if you need to, and remember that you're valid, you deserve the best, and the world is a better place with you in it. I'll be back on Friday, February 13th at 10 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to be showing off a couple of games, Disney's Epic Mickey Rebrush and Mario Kart Wii 32 Tracks 200cc. And if you missed out on Fast Travel or Passion Project, stay tuned as we replay both shows after this, and tune in tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern for a shooter speedrun specials featuring Don't Stop Girly Pop. Have a wonderful night. Bye!